And here we go.
There's the W. Here's ignition.
Roger, roll, Atlantic. Doubling up.
Did you just do a Kerbal?
Back to the moon and beyond.
Put that in the big bag, Gino.
Back at home, we all have a lot of work to do, but from here, that sure looks like a perfect flow.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
We did have an observation.
Equalizer.
343 unfolds to go.
It's orange.
Water towers can fly!
Bingo! Right in the center.
Where's Jacqueline? There it is!
That was surreal.
That's not what we want to see.
No!
Oh my God.
Yikes. You bet. Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Good morning from Starbase, Texas. You're taking a live look right now over at Pad 2, where we have Booster 21 out on the pad, hopefully getting ready for a static fire test today in just a little bit. I'm Sawyer Rosenstein. I will be your host for today's broadcast, but as is always the case, I am not alone. I am joined on commentary as well today by Max. How's it going, Max?
Good afternoon / morning, I guess, depending on where in the country or world you are watching from. But yes, good. Hopefully, Booster 21 wakes up today and actually does some things.
Yeah, I know, because you and I are both East Coast where it is afternoon, but looking at the clock in the top left, it's only 11, so it's like, oh, it is morning.
And I love how in your intro, Sawyer, you had to specify Starbase, Texas.
Oh, yeah. That, yeah, there's another Starbase on the line, so now we have to be even more specific. And speaking of more specific, when it comes to getting more specific answers, I know we can get those from Ryan Weber. How's it going, Ryan?
It's going fantastic. Hopefully, we're going to see a booster static fire today. I mean, we kind of have some confirmation, which is kind of an odd one. We got a post from the Starbase Texas account that basically said, yeah, we're getting a static fire today. It'd be around 1, which, by the way, by the methane reclaim vent, it's kind of about what we're thinking, about 1 o'clock T0 here, or somewhere around abouts. But yeah, let's hope we see some fire today.
Yeah, definitely. That post did say that road and area closures begin at 10:15 a.m. today, so obviously we're past that, for a Booster 21 engine test. The test is expected between noon and 1 p.m. You may hear a low rumbling and feel some vibration for a few minutes at most. This is normal and expected. The test is controlled and safe for the public. So, hopefully, some exciting times ahead. And, of course, can't forget the producer. So pushing the buttons, pulling the levers today is Jay Keegan, who has been dealing with a lot of stuff already. Apparently our fiber at Starbase is down, so please be nice to him. He can use some encouragement. God, now I feel bad for the jokes I made before we went on the air. I'm sorry, Jay. You're still my friend. Chat, show love for Jay Keegan. And, of course, as always, if you have any questions, you can tag us at NASASpaceflight or at NSF, and we will do our best to answer as many of your questions as we can. So, Ryan, what have we seen so far that told us, hey, we should go live, besides the X post?
Well, the funny thing is that the road's not even closed right now. It's really, really weird. The road's not closed. However, the booster LOX pumps are in full chill down. The LOX subcoolers are chilled down. The box fan's been running for a while. The booster CH4 subcoolers are also in chill down. As you can see, the methane reclaim vent, or the new pulp vent, is going, which means they are chilling down the methane side of the tank farm as well as the LOX side. So they're in full chill down. They're going full steam ahead right now with chill down, getting ready for the static fire. The booster transport stand is at the exit/entrance to the launch site. That'll move once they get full pad clear and block the road. But the road's not closed. There's no sheriff. There's no SpaceX security blocking the road. It's weird. They said they would close the road like an hour ago, and they haven't done it yet. And I'm pretty sure the beach closure text hasn't gone out, but they're chilling everything down anyways. So we'll see when they close that road. They're going to have to do it before prop load, which at this rate would be, if we're going to get around a 1 p.m. test, which should be around 12:30 or so is when prop load would start, maybe a little bit earlier. But we're waiting to see when they close that road, and then they move the transport stand to kind of block it. So that's kind of what we're waiting for right now on that side.
Well, it's a good thing then, Ryan, that we've never said, hey, they're getting close to it, and then waited 5 hours for it to happen with a recent Ship 41 static fire.
No, it's impossible. Impossible.
No, thankfully that hasn't happened before. Oh, wait. But we'll see. Again, we're keeping an eye on everything here, as you can see from all the cameras, and our team working hard to keep an eye on everything. Eric Frazier wondering, Max, are they just going to leave the BTR where it is this time? And for those who don't know, what is the BTR?
The booster transport ring or booster transport stand?
Booster transport ring wall.
Ring wall. Okay.
Ring wall.
I just call them stands.
I thought it was just ring, not ring wall. But that's why I didn't want to say the full
they call
acronym.
it ring wall.
So actually, one of the biggest signs that things are going to be picking up and the pad is going to be cleared out of all personnel, especially from SpaceX. Well, I guess at that point, it's only SpaceX personnel, is when we see that BTR leaving the launch site and heading down Highway 4 into its staging area until after the static fire is done and the booster and the pad are saved following either the test or if they opt to abort. Let's hope they don't do that today. So no, it will not be staying there. It's in way too close a proximity to the pad. You can kind of see it there towards the right of the tower. It's that like thin black horizontal line. You can kind of see it there, and those are the railings that are kind of above the wall there. That is the booster transport ring stand. So. I already have one of the SPMTs out on the road. There are 2 more staged underneath it, and that's how it is moved and gets around. But once we see that moving, that will be our indicator that the pad is essentially clear of all personnel, and they will be getting into prop load operations hopefully very soon after.
That's what we want to see. And again, it's amazing how quickly they do the prop load. And for a test like this, it's going to be similar, Max, kind of to what we've seen with the ship, right? Where they load up a lot of LOX and not a lot of methane.
Indeed. But I want to point out really quick that we are actually seeing the sheriffs now blocking the road off of LBJ Boulevard, just past the production site now. They have just moved into place, as you can see on your screen now, which is a good sign of things to come, hopefully.
There we go.
Yeah. Things are now progressing. Well, things are now progressing in the right direction. So that's good. That's a positive sign. But yeah, usually the standard procedure for static fire testing for both ships and boosters is loading up the LOX tank all the way to serve as a sort of weight ballast, and then only loading as much methane on the vehicle as is needed, plus a little bit more to give yourself some margin, because you don't want to have a full methane load on the vehicle should the worst happen, and feel that much bigger of a boom and damage your pad infrastructure, and of course your vehicle at that point is also gone. So that is done to minimize the explosive risks should that worst case scenario happen. But we should see a full LOX tank, and then maybe a sliver of methane ice on the methane tank, but that's not to say there's like next to no methane in the booster at that point, because the methane transfer tube, which goes all the way from the bottom of the methane tank, the topmost tank on the booster, down to the engine section of the booster, is about as wide and long as a Falcon 9 first stage booster. Like it's a rocket in itself almost. So just because we're not seeing ice on the methane tank during prop load, even though we're seeing a bunch of ice on the LOX tank, does not mean there is no methane in the booster. It's just that they have to fill that actual transfer tube first before we see methane building in the actual methane tank proper.
Yeah, so it's a little deceptive compared to what we see with the ship, where, despite the fact we had the heat shield tile side towards us, you could still see that there was that frost line forming pretty much instantly when they started. But we shall see. Sputnik is wondering, Ryan, how come SpaceX never does multiple tests at the pad in one window, like do a spin prime in the morning and a static fire towards the end?
Well, a lot of times because they like to look at the data. If they're going to do a specific test, they like to take the time to look at the data. And when you go on console for a test like this, you're probably going in early in the morning. You're doing checkouts of the booster, checkouts of the tank farm, doing all that other stuff. And then they're going through and doing the test. And then they're going through and watching it through detanking and looking at the data. So you're on console for several hours. At that point, if you want to do another test and you also want to, have your prop at the right temperature, you have to detank and then retank. At which point you're on console again for at least another 3 to 4 hours, because then you got to detank again. So it's part of it is they want to review the data. The other part is the people on console in the launch control center up in their office. They don't want to stay on console for any longer than they utterly need to. Probably the longest they really stay on console are for launches, plus the really long cryo tests over at Massey's for ships and boosters. Those that can last 6 to 10 hours. They're on console for the entire time that vehicle is tanked until it detanks. And those are sometimes all-nighters. So no reason to tire them out if you don't need to, and you can just close the road another day and do the test. It's just another road closure you got to use, and it's not really the end of the world. Now, usually what they do these days is they don't really do multiple tests. They'll run and do just a static fire test, and then they'll be done. They'll detank, be done with it, and roll it back. So that's kind of what we're expecting with Booster 21 here is do a 33-engine static fire today. They'll detank it, probably roll it back tomorrow, sometime tomorrow or tomorrow night, and then final preps before launch. That's kind of what we're expecting right now.
That's what we're hoping for. And I know, of course, all of that's going to bring up the question then of when launch and when hop and all of that. So I guess what is left, Max? Because we've seen Ship 40 go through its testing and stuff like that, it seems. So what are we still waiting for then for launch besides, obviously, the static fire, hopefully today?
Yeah, so ship should be inside Mega Bay 2 right now, finishing up its pre-launch checks or any other additional work that is required either on the heat shield or the internals, whatever SpaceX needs to get their hands back on again. The other big milestone that they're waiting on is obviously to get this vehicle currently in your frame static fired with all 33 engines successfully. That is one of the last major milestones. If not the last one, because they don't always perform a wet dress anymore with Starship. And in a wet dress rehearsal is when they stack the vehicle and go through a simulated countdown with propellants on board without actual engine ignition and launch. So they don't always do that anymore. Sometimes they do. But I would say this is the last major milestone test that we have until both vehicles are basically ready for flight. And following the static fire test, hopefully today, we should see the booster rolled back to Mega Bay 1 sometime in the next 24 to 30 hours, somewhere in there. We'll have to keep an eye on if any road closures pop up from the City of Starbase's website that would otherwise indicate a transport from the launch site to the production site to get the engines inspected and pretty much inspect the rest of the booster, do its own pre-launch checkouts, have the FTS or the flight termination system installed, and that's pretty much it. And the last thing we should be expecting in that process is the static fire today. So fingers crossed that goes well, but there really isn't that much more left to do. That being said, though, we still have that no earlier than date of September 15th from the Kadena slideshow presentation for Starship Flight 14. So maybe SpaceX wants some time to look over some other stuff. I'm not entirely sure, or they want to do some other testing. Again, we're not quite sure. But we've also had no official confirmation from SpaceX themselves of a net or a targeted launch date by any means, nor do we have any NOTAMs or airspace closures of any kind to indicate launch operations yet. So this is the last major step in the campaign before hopefully we start seeing those pop up. But they have to get this done and out of the way first.
Exactly. I mean, the other issue that they have with those dates is the fact that it is a holiday here in the United States as well. Labor Day is Monday the 7th, so everything is going to be closed for the weekend before and the 7th. So I'm sure that plays a role in losing a couple days' work. Although then again, SpaceX would probably just pay all the overtime anyway. It's worth noting now, as we saw, the road is closed. In addition, the beach is also closed. So all the things that need to be closed for this test to happen are finally happening. So that is a good sign. Tim Turner, Timmy Turner, is wondering, Ryan, from the time of load, so when they start loading up the prop load, how long do you think to a static fire? So what's the timeline of how quickly, roughly, that they load to then actually firing those engines?
It's about 36 to 37 minutes. It's about 37. It's 35 minutes to load it or so. And then there's like that 2-minute period where they finish loading, they press the tanks, they safe all the systems, purge the server structure lines. So they drain the excess liquid methane and liquid oxygen out of the lines on the server structure. And then once that's all good to go, they purge the server structure and then they fire up the deluge, then fire up the engines. It's about like 37 minutes or so.
Of course, we have to get to that point first, but it's interesting because they would load the entire vehicle of the booster and the ship in that same amount of time. And even though they're not fully loading the vehicle, it's still going to take that long?
Yeah, it doesn't take long to load this thing. It's kind of nuts how quickly they load it, and it might even get quicker depending on changes they make to the tank farm and other things going forward. We'll see how quick 39A and 37 does. And, of course, now the 10 pads at Starbase, Louisiana. You know, I was just thinking, I just wrote a KSC update article because we, as you may have seen, we did a flyover recently over there. And I started to reference Starbase. And I'm like, wait a minute. I have to reference Starbase, Texas now. Not just Starbase. Because now we also have to say Starbase, Louisiana now. It's like, I got to do that even more and more.
I know. That's why in the intro I had to make sure I said Starbase, Texas, too, because it's getting confusing otherwise. Oh, boy. As we take a quick look over here on the Space Coast, check it out. We've got the final Falcon 9 Starlink booster returning back to port. Looks like they're going to be getting ready to lift that. Meanwhile, the work continues in that middle right box there on the Starship Tower over at 39A. It's so weird seeing the towers on the left and the right there. And it's like, yeah, that's basically the same thing. And yeah, that one on the left in Florida is going to be launching starships from it very soon. I mean, it's also going to be launching a Falcon Heavy in a couple days, but or at least on the smaller one next to it.
I hope we get a point. I just hope that a Falcon Heavy, whether it's a USSF mission, an ORL mission, or I don't really care what mission it is, but I want a Falcon Heavy on 39A, a Starship stacked, maybe even HLS, and then an SLS on 39B, all at the same time. Just once.
I second that.
Once.
I second that. Very much so.
Yes.
I don't care if it's only for a day. Just once.
That would be
Please,
awesome.
SpaceX and NASA, line it
Please.
up.
Please.
Just do it. Do it.
Pretty please.
Yeah, right?
Speaking of, while we're mentioning Florida here, I'll do a quick couple Florida questions before heading back to Starbase, Texas, and or Louisiana, I guess. First off, the Madman is wondering, Max, do you think they will keep Playa Linda Beach open during Florida Starship launches? I'm going to go out on a limb, probably say no, since it won't even be open for Falcon Heavy on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly a bit surprised by that one. Honestly, because Playa Linda has been open for many other Falcon Heavy launches beforehand, so that's a bit surprising to me, unless that was a call made by NASA themselves. But for Starship, no way. Like, there's no way. There's no way that they would keep Playa Linda Beach open for a Starship launch from 39A. That's about 3. So what's curious about that, Sawyer, is SpaceX employees are allowed to watch from the front lawn at Star Factory and Starbase, which is like maybe 2 miles away and change, like just over 2 miles. Playa Linda Beach from 39A, from its closest, walkway, and the first beach is like closer to 4 miles. So, like, from a distance perspective, it's not that big of a problem. But considering how many more organizations have their hands in the roles of safety over there, being NASA, the parks. Oh gosh, why am I blanking on the name? Those who run the national parks.
Yeah, National Park Service. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Parks and Recreation. What?
Yes, I don't.
Thank you, Leslie. No. Anyway,
Parks and Rec.
I can't imagine them signing that off unless Starship has flown numerous times while proving that that it is not a safety issue. I don't know. It seems highly unlikely to me, but I'd be happy to be proven wrong there. But again, like, it's been open for Falcon Heavy missions before. It's been open for some crewed launches before. But I think whenever it's a NASA mission, either in science or with crew being NASA crewed missions, that is when they opt to close Playa Linda Beach just for the reason of safety for the vehicle itself and also for the members of the public, which, is a bit of a head scratcher sometimes under some I guess times. But yeah, I guess going forward long term, I don't see Playa Linda Beach staying open for Starship launches. I wish it would, but I don't think that's going to happen.
yeah. I mean, again, like you said, I'm not sure why it's not open for this Falcon Heavy Sunday, but it's also worth noting that just like we saw at Starbase, there was a much bigger keep out zone and keep people away zone for the first couple of flights compared to the flights now. So a lot of the, TFRs and I don't know what else to call them, but like worrisome areas in case something goes wrong have shrunk as they've flown the vehicle more, learned how the vehicle works, upgraded it, etc. I'm sure the same thing will happen in Florida, where right now it is a pretty large blast danger area / keep out zone on launch day. Basically up to, and we'll see if it includes the press site or not for this first launch, but right around the 39 press site area. Hopefully over time that will shrink again as they fly it more, as they get used to the GSE over at the Cape more, and as they continue to fly more here in Starbase and learn from the vehicle.
So actually, Sawyer, based on some paperwork released by the FAA, I think it was either earlier this year or late last year, the published keep out zones for Starship missions from 39A, the last keep out zone where there was no people allowed inside, the border for that was in the the water in the turn basin, which is not at the press site. So technically, by that border, there would be people allowed at the press site. Although I guess we're gonna have to wait and find out if NASA ends up allowing people back there or not, because that is NASA property after all, and of course they have the final say of who gets to go there and who doesn't. We'll have to wait and see. But just like judging off of that last keep out zone on the FAA's paperwork, it looks like the press site was not in the BDA. So, and I mean
right
just
right,
yeah, like just, but technically not inside of it. So there could be people allowed there technically.
Yeah, that was why I was like, maybe they will, because it's so narrow.
I know.
All right, let's head back to some more questions here relating to Starbase. Reminder: I see people asking questions in chat, but there's so many of them going through. If you want to make sure that it's easier to be seen, make sure you tag your questions with @NASASpaceflight or @NSF. It appears in the software that we have here. That way it's easier to see all of those questions coming in. I also want to make sure I thank a couple people here. Sheriff Tracy, thank you for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Very much appreciate that. And Wilbo Baggins gifting a Red Team membership as well. If you got one of those memberships from either of them, please make sure to give them a big old thank you. Here's one from Jack Ranger and Ryan. They're saying, why do ships tend to static fire during the night while boosters tend to be during the day? Is that planned or more coincidence?
It also a lot has to do with the EIS. So Massey's doesn't, or I should say the PEA, because the EIS for Starbase, the original EIS is, that was Falcon. The PEA they've done, the Programmable Environmental Assessment, which kind of modifies the EIS, is the one that covers Starship. So according to that, they can't static fire at night. Now, Massey's is not included in that because it's not at the launch site. Massey's is a separate test site that is not covered at all by any of the environmental assessment stuff. So when they go to make Project Ignition over at Roberts Road off Schwartz for Schwartz Road, there's no FAA involvement in that because there's no flight. It's not a launch pad. It's just a testing area. Same thing for when Blue makes their second staging stuff. Like the FAA doesn't have a say in what happens at Stennis. That's not covered by that. You can put TFRs up and stuff like that, but other than that, the FAA doesn't really regulate what happens at Stennis and stuff like that. And also that's NASA regulates that. So the PEA basically involves the launch site, and they're not allowed to static fire at night at the launch site. So that's why they try to static fire during the day. In terms of ships, they could static fire whenever they wanted to. They could static fire 3 in the morning if they wanted to. It just depends on when they're ready to do it. So that's all that is that. They've probably made an agreement with Brownsville to not try to static fire too late into the night, but we have seen them where they go nearly at midnight. So, it is what it is.
Yeah, they love it when they have ones that are actually during a daylight hour for the ship, and then they don't go in the daylight.
Yeah.
AKA everything so far with ship 41. This is an interesting question. I'm sure there are some environmental people that might object to this idea, but Max, Bill Carvo is saying, do you think there comes a time at the new land, I'm guessing they mean out towards the Louisiana area, would they intentionally blow up a fully loaded full stack to understand the risk? It would be a beautiful display for science. I mean, we've seen in-flight abort tests.
I mean, no. At that point, you are putting any other towers or tank farms or pretty much any other infrastructure you have at the site at risk. That to me seems like a waste of resources and a waste of what could be flight vehicles. I can't see them doing that. I would rather them not find out unless the worst case scenario actually happened unintentionally. As weird as that might sound, the less explosions that you can manage, the better. And even intentional or not, that just carries a whole bunch of other risks in itself. So no, I don't. No, that seems a bit unreasonable to me.
I mean, if they do a test like that, just make sure Jerry's out there with the drone and you'll get good results.
Also true.
All I want to say,
certified fact check true,
is SpaceX, NASA, and now especially the Space Force has learned a lot from the explosions of Ship 36 and then New Glenn. They learned a lot about blast danger areas from both of those explosions. Yeah, with that data, you can then calculate what would happen with the Starship full stack and better understand what actually would happen. Now, the other problem with that, too, is it also would depend on how the full stack went. Where did it start? Where's the explosion start? How much of that fuel is actually ignited or how much is just rained down? Like in terms of the N1 explosion, N1 pad fallback, like only a fraction of that fuel actually was ignited and vaporized and detonated. Most of the, it's RG1, but it's basically their RP1. Most of that fuel just went out in a cloud and then literally rained back down onto the launch complex, Site 110, and that's all it did. It never ignited. It never caught fire, and it never was part of the explosion. So you could test the full explosion, but that doesn't mean that the next time it happens, it's going to follow that exact way. The best way you can do is simulate it and hope it never happens. You just go with that. Hope it never happens.
I think the closest I think we've ever come to finding out how powerful a full stack explosion would be for Starship is unfortunately the demise of New Glenn, even though that's not as big and was also using hydrogen on the upper stage and not methane. That was still an incredibly large explosion, but from what we saw, there wasn't that big of an overpressure from it, to be honest. But big flaming mess, it sent debris for miles from what we could tell. And Starship would be even more powerful than that. So I think that just adds a whole bunch of complexity and risk that you otherwise would just want to avoid. So no.
Yeah, great in theory, not so much in practice. But yeah, I guess we can thank New Glenn for a little bit of free data there.
Yeah.
So as we look now at the clear blue skies, do you mind kind of getting us caught up on where we are for people that might just be joining, people going, when static fire? When all this, when that? Can we get a kind of update on where we're at, Ryan, here in terms of what we've seen, what we're still expecting?
So basically, at this point in time, if they're doing their about 1.5 hour chill down, we would be about 40 minutes away from the start, or less than that, from start of prop load. Well, 50 minutes or so away from that. It'd be around, we're talking around 12:30 or so, probably 12:25 for the start of prop load, if they're going to target 1 p.m. Central for the T0. And then, as I said before, you're looking at about a 35-minute prop load with about 2 minutes in there to save, purge, and drain everything, and then static fire hopefully around 1 o'clock. If not, they might take like an extra 30 minutes for chill down, at which point your T0 would end up being somewhere around 1:30. But we'll have to wait and see when prop load actually starts, because sometimes they've taken 2 hours to chill it down, and sometimes they've taken only an hour and a half to chill it down. So it can get kind of we'll see how long they actually take to do it, kind of way. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now. They are still in chill down. Everything's progressing fine. There are no indications they have any issues. The next big step to happen from this point on will be the booster transport stand leaving the launch site to then sit on Highway 4 and wait for Booster 21 to complete its test. So we're just waiting for that to happen, which will also indicate pad clear.
Well, we got closed roads, we got closed beaches. Now we just need a closed pad, so get everything ready to go there. But all of that can happen in relatively quick timing. Let's see here. Gustav Gans is wondering, I'll throw this one back to you, Ryan. As we were doing that tilt up there, we noticed an interesting shape on one of the rings. They're saying, why is there a ring in one of the booster rings that has a shape of a Pez dispenser?
If you are talking near the bottom there, it should be on the A5, so it's the second to last ring section from the common dome down, or I should say the second ring section from the bottom up. It looks like it has basically a patch that looks like a Pez door. That patch is the doubler for one of the attach points for the LOX landing tank that's on the inside. Should be one on each side. So the LOX landing tank attaches to the side of the booster. And then, yeah, right there. And then basically there's attach points that go to the tank wall. And that's one of those patches and doublers that basically where the attach point of that tank sticks to the wall. And that's all it is. It's just extra reinforcement for that LOX landing tank.
And thank you to Jay Keegan for pulling that up, and the Starbase Live team as well, working behind the scenes on that. Let's see here. Getting back to more questions. Helps when I'm in the right tab. There we go. Justin Smith is wondering, coming in with the support with this question, saying, Gwen said that there would be an airport in Starbase, Louisiana. Max, how would that work with launches in the FAA?
I was wondering that myself because we're going to be talking about Starbase Louisiana in full detail later on today on the Flame Trench. It's interesting because there are a couple of flight IFR routes from either Houston or like the Miami, Tampa ish area coming into either Lafayette or New Orleans that pass right over Pecan Island or Pecan Island, excuse me. That's how they say it down there. I don't know how exactly they would go about adjusting that because I know SpaceX wants to build their own airport there because the closest one is not very close. So that would be something like I'd imagine they'd call that probably Starbase Regional or something similar because I think that sounds cool. But they might have to adjust the IFR plans in the IFR pads into New Orleans and Lafayette. I'm not. But that being said, I'm honestly not quite sure like what goes into that in terms of paperwork and adjustments. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not the most educated on that subject, so it's hard to say. But just from looking from above, making a general observation that there are going to have to be some changes there, not just for the airport itself, but also when the site is operational with all 10 or 12 pads or more at some point, just how big that TFR is going to be and how high they're going to have it, especially if they're launching like 30 times a day in 3.5 to 4 years, right? That's going to take some adjustment. But like that being said, again, I'm not entirely sure what is going to go into that for that change. But there are some things that have to be moved out of the way to allow Starship to fly from there.
I would expect a regional airport with probably a single runway. They may add in like cargo terminals to bring in stuff via cargo for materials for that because when you look at the infrastructure around, the road infrastructure leading to that area is abysmal, to say the least. There's a single state highway that goes in. It takes a bit to even attach into the interstates. So a lot of the material and a lot of the stuff they're going to bring in are going to get barged into probably a port that they're going to build where the current, just south of where the current U.S. Army Corps of Engineers docks are down there. Then my guess would be a regional airport with a small terminal and a single runway and taxiway. They can face that runway east-west. They keep a TFR up around that launch site, and any SpaceX aircraft or cargo aircraft bringing stuff in just has to get clearance to come into the TFR, and they can land east-west, and they will not have an issue going against launches. And even they won't have many issues coming in with ships coming back in. If they just do an east to west and they keep it within 5 miles of those launch pads, you're out of the blast danger area. At that point, when your planes landing in there are low enough that you won't have any issues with ships coming in, and you won't have any issues with launches. So that's a pretty easy one to do. It's my expectation for what kind of airport they would put in. So like the SpaceX 737 that would run back and forth. I think they're swapping out for a 5.7 at some point. And considering how many employees they're going to have in and around the area, I wouldn't be surprised if SpaceX bought more aircraft. I would not be shocked, and they'd probably make that runway long enough for probably C5 Galaxies to land in case they do a SSO DoD mission out of there. It can land a classified payload or something like that. It would not shock me for them to build something like that, and they can make it work pretty easily.
And another thing with the site that I think will help too, I mean, this is more from the launch perspective side of things, but just like we have here in Starbase Texas, I would imagine Starbase Louisiana would also have its own private range, correct? Because that's one of the problems, I guess, quote-unquote problems. is that you would have to. Sorry, I was just looking at the tank farm there. Is that you have to get clearance with the Eastern Range and the 45th and Space Launch Delta 45. They could just make their own private range for Louisiana as they have for Texas.
And they can keep that beach closed 24/7. They'll own it. They will own that beach entirely. Own that area. They can keep that area closed 24/7 from everyone. They don't have to let it. They don't have to keep it open for anybody. They will have full control of that area, full control of their range. The only thing they'll have to do is they'll just have to patrol the range as they do at Starbase during a launch, but they don't have to they don't have to give people access to the beach. In fact, right now there's not really even a beach there. They're gonna restore it as a beach, but no one will be able to use it. It'll just be for wildlife and whatnot. Right now it's just kind of marshes and swamps. But that's basically what they can do. They'll have full control of everything there. They'll work with the Coast Guard, obviously, to close off parts of the Gulf of Mexico and stuff like that. And of course, working for airspace and maritime closures. But as for their range, they will run it, they will control it, and they will probably just keep that closed like 24/7.
Yeah, exciting times. And again, if you want to hear more about this part of the conversation in regards to Starship coming to Louisiana, we have a segment on that coming up later today on the Flame Trench. That's our weekly news show where we go over some of the exciting topics and discuss them with you and answer your questions about it. We'll go a lot more in depth during that show. And I know, Max, you and I are going to have some interesting conversations on that one.
Yes, we sure are. I feel like today is going to be a good show, but I don't want to jinx it. Or spoil it.
All right. Terrible Flame Trench coming up. No, I'm kidding. What is awesome, though, is the people that continue to help support us as we wait for today's static fire attempt. Justin Smith, thank you for becoming a Padrat member. Bideford, good to see you. Coming in for the $25 support, saying, such a nice host team today. Max, Ryan, Sawyer, and Jay get ready for an awesome static fire.
We hope so.
I hope so, too. This is a really good question. Ryan, I'm throwing this one to you. Apocalypse Cow is saying Falcon 9 uses T-Tab for ignition, but Starship does not, correct? Why the difference? It's different fuels, material handling issues, and also thanking for the usual excellent coverage. Thank you for the usual awesome support, Apocalypse Cow. Ryan, what do you think?
Well, T-Tab, they use it. They use it because it's a quick, easy way to do ignition. It's quick, simple, easy. The problem with T-Tab is you have to carry it as it's a separate fuel, basically. You have to carry along with you. They have spheres of T-Tab for it. They have to carry extras for the engines that then do the reentry burns and then the landing burns. That has to have more T-Tab than, say, the outer engines. And I'm pretty sure the outer engines don't even have T-Tab accessible off the rocket because they start those via ground systems. So the ones that relight during flight, you have to carry that with you. So that's an extra fuel, extra mass, extra things you got to carry with you. Starship, for ignition, when they originally started, they used torch igniters. So basically, it's a spark, and then you're using, methane and oxygen gas to make a torch to then ignite. Back then, were the pre-burners and the MCCs. This is way back in the early SN days. When they switched over to Raptor 2, they took the igniters out of the main combustion chamber, which is the MCC. The igniters were only in the pre-burners. So you ignite the pre-burners, run the turbo pumps, and the environment you create in the main combustion chamber just allows auto ignition of the liquid oxygen and liquid methane. On Raptor 3, the main combustion chamber works the same way. It's an auto ignition. However, they use acoustic igniters by the sound of it, which is basically a little kind of like a de Laval nozzle. But basically it's you take the oxygen and methane gas and then you put it through a nozzle, which then speeds it up to supersonic speeds. It also resonates that part of the igniter. The resonance plus the speed heats it up enough to where it auto-ignites. That ignites the preburner, which turns on the turbo pump, and then you get auto-ignition in the main combustion chamber. So the reason why Starship doesn't use it is because you don't want to carry around T-Tab all the way to the moon or Mars. When you got to reignite your engines in space, you don't want to have a separate fuel. It's more mass, it's more complexity. Just have an igniter that ignites the fuels that you already have. Makes it simpler.
Yeah, I mean, that seems to be a lot of the case here with Starship is use what you have. Do we want to install crazy RCS thrusters or, just use the venting that we already have inside the tank to use that to help maneuver in space? The fewer parts, the better, right?
And you get a lot less parts when you use acoustic igniters. There's basically no moving parts in there. You get resonance vibration, and that's it. So.
Gotta love it. Simplicity in one of the world's most complex vehicles. Yeah. So again, for those just joining, we are expecting a static fire test today of Booster 21. You can see the tank farm is active over there. Things are continuing to chill down. The road closures are in place, and the beach closure is active over at Boca Chica Beach. The city of Starbase posting on X earlier saying that they are closing down the roads today for a Booster 21 engine test. And the test is expected, they said, between noon and 1 p.m. Central Time, saying that you may hear low rumbling and feel some vibrations for a few minutes at most. Now, I want to point that out real quick here, Max. A few minutes at most. That's a weird comment, because normally these are about a minute, right? Does that mean they could potentially go for something longer?
Well, for boosters, they're normally shorter. So the longest booster static fire that we have ever seen with either version 1, version 2, or version 3 vehicles was the static fire of Booster 20, which lasted, I think it was around 24 seconds. And before that, over on Pad 1, booster static fires were limited to about 7 seconds because the hold-down clamps that hold the booster in place with the old pad design were not designed to hold the booster down under full thrust. At Pad 2, they are. But they were also limited to how long they could fire against the actual upside-down water deluge plate from the bottom of the old launch mount as well. So there's just a bunch of factors working against them that used to limit their times for static fires down to about 7 seconds. I think it was 15 for Booster 19 the first time they got all 33 up, and then for Booster 20, that was about 24 seconds, which is by far and away the longest speed we have ever seen. That's where my brain goes for today's test is around the same length. But that language, the language in that post was certainly interesting to say the least. It's vague, but also that
on purpose.
Of course, but that also is like they wouldn't dare attempt a multi-minute static fire because one,
they can't.
They can't. Right, because one, the amount of propellant on board the booster can only support maybe 2.5 minutes at the most, and not to mention the fact that the flame trench is not designed to sustain a 2.5 minute thermal loads and forces for 2.5 minutes. So, an interesting choice of words there, but I think what we could expect today is a static fire around 20 to 25 seconds.
Ryan, you agree? You think about 20 to 25? Because I believe Booster 20 was about 20?
So 24 seconds. Well, they only load enough methane to fire for about that long or a little bit longer than that is how much methane they load in there. They would, if they wanted to do a full duration static fire at full power, you'd have to load the methane all the way up and then fire it, and they don't even have enough water for that. They have 800,000 gallons between all the systems. They have enough to do 2 launches worth inside the water tank farm if it's completely full. However, that would only be firing for like 2 minutes, like maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes. That's about it. You wouldn't be able to do that much. And I will just say this as well. That 24-second static fire did more thermal damage to the trench than both launches combined. They wouldn't dare try that. They would probably actually melt the trench if they did something like that. They wouldn't be able to keep it up long enough, and you do severe damage to your trench, and you might even blow the whole thing up, like blow the rocket up, because all of a sudden you run out of water, and then you get acoustic energy bouncing back up, and then you might accidentally blow an engine, and there goes the booster, and melt the pad, and that's not good. You don't want to do that. And you don't need to do that. So just fire it. It'll just fire it for 20 to 24 seconds, or they'll fire it for only 10 this time. We'll see. We'll see how long they go for.
Admittedly, unlike New Glenn, if you do lose a pad, you've got others. Right? I mean, they're in Florida, but you have others at least right now.
Yeah, they're not exactly ready yet, though. So let's keep this one in running order.
Yeah, I agree. We don't need any more of these.
Concur.
Yikes. All right.
You bet.
Let me continue thanking some people here. And a reminder, easier to see your questions if you tag us at NSF or at NASASpaceflight, because I've been reading chat. And there's some good questions in there, but makes it hard to see them because it's moving fast. Salling saying saw a great lunar eclipse last night in Cocoa Beach. Did any East Coast local photographers get photos of the event? Did you grab any, Max?
I did, but they're kind of meh, honestly. Like, one of the most tricky things is shooting a partial lunar eclipse with a super long lens with a pretty tight aperture, and you can't really expose for too long. It's complicated, but I didn't like. I was looking at my shots last night, and then they were just kind of like meh, especially compared to some of the stuff I was already seeing on X. So it's just like, yeah, my stuff did not work out tonight. So I'm just going to enjoy everything else that everyone else was able to create. So, yeah, I got some, but I'm probably not going to post them, unfortunately.
For one of my Instagram story, because it was, again, same thing. It's so hard with the partial and getting the lighting right, and then, yeah, you got to also try to throw in some ISO in there to try and make up for it. But then if you put in too much, then you get all the noise. If you denoise, it gets blurry.
It's a whole cluster trying to shoot a very dark object in a dark night sky on a long lens. Like, it just doesn't, unless you have a bespoke star tracker, like it's super tricky.
Yeah, the moon moving doesn't help.
No, no, it does not.
Let's see here. Boy, everyone's talking to each other through these support messages. Space Pope saying, "Holy Space Mother, Bideford, bless your fiscal gifts." And then Wilbo Baggins coming in and saying, "Bless the Space Pope." Man, left hand, right hand, all saying hi to each other here. Phil says, "Just call it OG Starbase and Starbase Lou. Keep up the good work. Can't wait for cameras at Starbase Lou, Wilbo."
Or this Starbase and that Starbase.
Thing 1 and thing 2. This and that.
I want to know how they're going to call those pads. Like, are we going 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B, 4A, 4B, 5A, 5B? Is that what we're doing? That's going to get annoying. Like,
sounds pretty straightforward, honestly.
Well, I guess, but then how do you confuse it with Starbase Pad 1 and Pad 2, and then Starbase Louisiana Pad 1 and Pad 2?
Well, because I think it's going to be Pad 1A, 1B, because you're having a pair of pads per tank farm, and then that is one launch pad. So you get Pad 1 with A and B, and then Pad 2 with A and B, or something along those lines. That's how I think about it. That's going to be fun to try to. I have to color code that in my spreadsheet somehow. At this rate, I don't know what color spread I'm going to use. Luckily, I got some time until they fly out of it, but yeah, that's going to be fun.
Breaking news, Ryan Weber has a spreadsheet.
Spreadsheets with us? No.
No.
No. But
You could see there.
See, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you do A and B, A and B, A and B, A and B, A and B. You know? Yeah. Right?
Why not? It's very straightforward.
Yeah. I think that makes sense because, I mean, that's what we have 39 A and B. It'll be 37 A and B.
36 A and B.
So why not?
Yeah. That's what we'll do then. I'll call it that. I don't care what SpaceX calls it.
I mean, hey, out on the West Coast, rather than 4A and 4B, they went 4E and 4W. So
That is true. Because the West Coast has to be weird like that.
Exactly.
W for Weird Coast.
Yeah. Also, notice conveniently that right now, of the Sleek 4 complex, which one are they launching from? For East, because they know East is best?
East? I thought you meant West.
Just throwing it out there. By the way, Ron Smith saying no Star Bayou for Louisiana.
Star Bayou.
I mean, I'm waiting for them to see if they can request their own little community and call it Starship Parish. Because for those who don't know, Louisiana has parishes instead of counties.
Yes.
So,
I think the transport stand might be going.
Is it moving?
I
Might
don't.
be.
I can't. I don't.
Jay,
see
fix
any
it.
movement. Jay, tell it to move.
Oh boy. Like Canthus with a $10 tip at tips.nasaspaceflight.com. Thank you for the extra effort to help us even more directly, saying, "Let there be fire."
There it is.
Oh yeah, it is definitely moving.
Oh yeah, I think
it
it's
is
safe
on
to say
Highway
that.
4.
So, why do they move this, Max? And where do they put it?
So essentially, they are clearing it out from the pad because should the worst happen, or even just under the normal acoustic loads during the static fire, there's a good chance that booster transport stand would sustain some damage because it's not just a ring of metal that just holds a booster in place. It's actually a quite complex machine. And the last thing you want to do is have it directly subjected to the enormous acoustic forces of a booster static fire. I mean, they had this thing right behind the tower. And so I think the safest thing for them to do is to clear it from the site and move it down Highway 4 about maybe a mile or so, just to get it away from the pad and away from any possible damage or debris or heat, whatever may come from today's test. It's best to save whatever hardware you have while you can and not put it in harm's way when you don't have to. So we should see it transported down the highway for maybe about a mile or so. And judging by previous tests, they might put it directly in front of one of our highway cameras, right in front of the flame trench. So we might lose that view there, but at least we'll have a better understanding of where they're actually putting it on the highway. But that is why they are moving it away from the pad, but it is also a positive sign that they are moving forward with operations and that the pad will very soon be clear of all personnel, which is good.
And a shout out to the people that operate the SPMTs on this. They somehow maneuver these tight curves and everything amazingly while still keeping a decent pace at the speed of this. I mean, look
They
how
make it
fast
look
it's still going.
They make it look so easy, honestly. And I've never operated in SPMT of any kind. I have no idea how you do it or what goes into it, what kind of training, etc. But that looks incredibly fun, and these guys make it look super easy. So major shout out to the what does SpaceX call them? Move. Go ahead.
Ring wall.
Oh.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Ring wall. It's a critical lift team or move team.
Critical lift team.
Yeah,
that's what it was. Okay.
And or just a move team.
Okay.
Yeah. You can see it says ring wall. That's the Z minus axis there where the booster goes. You can even see there's like position sensors up top there, like kind of up there a little bit. Didn't do a full circle, but yeah, if I can. There. And then on the inside, you can see the clamps.
I see raptors. Oh wait.
Yeah. So again, you got the BTR, the booster transport ring wall, moving on the SPMTs, the self-propelled modular transporter. And we could see the X, Y, and Z or Z axes. Which one is Z?
The minus Z axis would be your raceway side. So the side that doesn't have a grid fin. That's your minus Z.
And we
because
just saw
that
minus Y
side
as well.
What?
And we just saw minus Y as well going by.
Yep.
And there's plus Z. There's plus Z. So it's basically just orientation kind of helping out there of which side of the vehicle goes where. And then, of course,
That's
all of the counterweights
parts.
on it is crazy.
That is crane parts for, I think, a Tadano crane.
Oh,
Plus
that's
the
what that
counterweight
is. That's...
tray. Yep.
Oh,
It's
cool.
for a Tadano. But
That was unexpected, but very cool. Just crawling behind. All right. Everyone keeps saying we should call it Molly Ring Wall
Why?
because it's the booster transport ring wall, and there's an actress named Molly Ringwall. So I guess it
Went right over my
wordplay.
head. I would not have known that.
You youngins. Anyway, yes, Chris Bergen, you got it in the back channel saying wouldn't look pretty in pink. Very, very clever. Let's see here. As we continue to wait for them to move this out of the way so that they can get ready for the prop load and static fire attempt today of Booster 21, which per post from the city of Starbase, they are going to turn on some engines today. Hopefully all 33, and hopefully we get a nice long static fire of like 20, 25 seconds. Lively Renew with a really unique question. And Max, I want your thoughts on this. They're saying, how will the flight termination system work with rapid reuse since they disable it in flight? Wouldn't it take a hard reset each time?
I'd imagine it'll be some iteration of how they use it with Falcon. But I mean, maybe they'll have to certify it for X amount of flights before they have to actually go back in and either service it or replace the charges. I'm not quite sure if they're still going to be using these standard NASA charges at that point to detonate the vehicle if they need to. But I imagine they'll try and certify it for a number of flights down the road to keep hands off of it as much as possible. And then after either a certain time period or after X amount of flights, they'll go back in and either service the mechanisms or just flat out replace components in there. So that's what I would imagine they would do. It would save time and labor on all fronts to just not have to touch it. Because once it's worth noting now that the vehicles already have the FTS installed when they're rolling down Highway 4 to get to the launch site before launch, both booster and ship. So clearly people can be around it. It's just obviously not armed, right? So I imagine it'll be somewhat of a similar similar situation there. But that's probably my best guess.
Also would be surprised if they come up, with their own version of an FTS that they can turn off and on. It's SpaceX. They come up with
They'll build anything. Yeah.
You can do it. You can secure it via hardware blocks or software blocks. And I mean, you could have a physical thing that you have to reset, or it's reset via software, or something along those lines. You can do either way. My guess is they'll do something via software. It might stay hardware at first, but once they really start wanting to reuse these things quickly, my guess is they'll find a way to do it software-wise and do it safely. The nice thing is they basically have plugs and hardware blocks on the QDs. So whenever it's hooked up to a QD, whether it's in the bay or on a pad, basically there's an insert on the QD itself where it locks out the FTS. It's basically disabled. As long as the QD is connected, it's disabled. In terms of when it's either being lifted or rolled, I think one of the covers can have part of a hardware block, so it's kind of like it'd kind of be like a cap to put into one of the locations where you would where it would hard disable the FTS as long as that's connected. Basically, like routing around the signal and canceling it out, or whatever you want to call it. But they have multiple ways you can do it. But as of right now, whenever a QD is hooked up to one of these vehicles, the FTS is automatically disabled even if it's installed, because the QD basically disables it via hardware block. So,
and I'd imagine worst comes to worst, they want airline-like operations. You'll have a ground crew, I would imagine, that's going to be working on getting payloads on and getting things refit. Why not have a team whose job it is to rearm the FTS?
Part of the red team, I guess, maybe.
Yeah. Here's a great question that can kind of walk us through at least what hopefully we'll be seeing here very soon, because they did say between 12 and 1 for the testing, and you see the tank farm doing its thing there on the right. Ryan, is there a tank farm timeline like there is for rocket loading?
yes. So one of the biggest things we do is a lot of times you'll see this vent going a lot. That is the box fan vent, which is basically your liquid nitrogen and liquid oxygen venting for the exhaust off the liquid oxygen subcoolers, things like that. That right there goes for a while. They start that very early most of the time. It does that to just they basically chill it down before anything else. The middle vent, which isn't on at the moment, it's usually right around there. That is the methane subcooler exhaust vent. So that is for chilling down the methane subcoolers with liquid nitrogen, and then that vent really kicks into gear, as well as the one all the way over on the right, the one I was just circling before, when they go into prop load. Those really kick into gear, and they are using a lot of LN2 to sub-chill the LOX and CH4. Those start before just about anything else. The box fan starts way, way early. They kind of keep everything in chill down. Once they're going to get ready and close to start, flowing methane through the system, which is the vent that's back there, which is the methane reclaim vent. Once that gets activated, that's when they start flowing methane through the system and they start chilling everything down. Now, before you do that, you usually want to have your methane subcoolers chilled, or at least partially chilled, so you don't flash vaporize your methane and turn it into gas right away. You want it to actually still be able to cool the channels in there and whatnot. So you see the box fan go on first, then usually it's the liquid methane subcoolers. Then the reclaim vent comes on. The reclaim vent really gives us our best guess at a T0. In terms of launch day or during a static fire like this, it can take around an hour and a half to 2 hours to truly chill down both the LOX and the CH4 sides all the way, because you want to get it down to a cool enough temperature so that when you flow your subcooled liquids through, you don't turn them into gas too quick, and then you also don't want to shock cool the lines. So you flow that through, that takes a certain amount of time to do it, and then once everything is down to temperature and the vehicle's pressed and they're ready to go, they'll start prop load, at which point the reclamation systems will basically turn off and all the methane and liquid oxygen they have flowing through lines then goes into the vehicle.
So hopefully that's what we will be seeing here soon, with the actual getting propellants into the vehicle, if all goes well.
Hopefully very soon. If they're going to hit 1, then I would expect prop load to start in the next 10 minutes. In the next 10 or less. So we'll see.
And it should be pretty obvious when that happens, because the frost line on the booster is going to be going up pretty rapidly.
Exactly. And, it's cool to see it from one angle, but could you imagine seeing it from all the different angles that we have at Starbase looking at today's static fire attempt? Well, you don't have to imagine, because we have our members multi-view live for today's static fire attempt. So if you are a member at any level, you get access to this members multi-view where you can see we got at least 9 cameras. 9 cameras? But wait, there's another 9. So you can see it rotates through all the different ones we have. It's a good chance to check out all the views, and it's a thank you to all of our members who allow us to be able to have all of these cameras out there and bring all of these views to you. It's a nice little thank you for you guys. So enjoy the static fire from multiple views. And then Ninja Decimator, pew pew pew, saying, let's go Starship, let's go Starbase, part 2. Tiller Z is wondering, how can Elon plan 30 Starship launches per day if there isn't even enough propellant for 2 launches? Sounds like a lot of tanks, Max.
There's a lot of tanks and a lot of propellant to be utilized there. But one of the benefits and talking points that we're going to be going over in the Flame Translator is one of the benefits to Starbase's location in Louisiana being right on the Gulf. One of the things that is great about the Gulf is that there are still lots of untapped pockets of liquid natural gas, which SpaceX can use then to fuel Starship. It's just a matter of being in much closer proximity to access that. And obviously, they're in Louisiana. They are. They just need to find a way to have that piped in. I'm not sure how they're going to do that, but I imagine that they'll have that worked out. But the proximity is there, and they're planning for approximately a tank farm or 2 tank farms for. Is that 1 tank farm for 2 pads, Ryan, each? Is that what that looks like? Okay.
Basically, be like what they're doing, what they're going to do at Starbase here, and then what they're going to do at Slick 37. Slick 37 is really the better way to do it. They'll have that. They'll have methane and oxygen split, and then basically you have 1 pump and subcooler farm for 2 pads. So you can only launch out of 1 pad at a time unless they decide to do 2 setups of pumps and subcoolers.
Yep.
It'd only be 1 pad at a time. So one launches 1 hour, one launches the other. Or heck, if you load it fast enough, you launch 1 in 30 minutes, 1 30 minutes after. Which is nuts. But yeah.
Nuts indeed. But yeah, that's going to have to be a lot of making your own as you go.
Yeah. And that's really a problem they can really only tackle in Louisiana because they don't really have that problem in Florida because there isn't a pocket of LNG to tap into here, nor is there really in Starbase, and that's all tanked in. So
there is in Starbase.
Isn't that not all brought in by tanker?
Right now it will. Right now it is. Eventually it won't all be. So what they'll do in Louisiana is going to be the same thing what they're going to do in Starbase. It's called Starpipe. Max, remember Starpipe?
I do remember Starpipe. That's right.
Well, that's what they called it. It's a 16-inch.
I tried to forget that. That's why.
It's a 16-inch natural gas line that's going to run from the. It's going to tee off from the supply line that's going to the Texas LNG plant at the Port of Brownsville. It'll tee off from that. They'll run it through an easement through all the wetlands and everything. That's going to run to the production site, and then it'll go to the launch site. At the launch site, they will have a liquefaction area where they will take that natural gas, liquefy it into LNG/methane, and then that'll go straight into the storage tanks. At Louisiana, there is pretty good LNG infrastructure close by because of all the gas and oil and all the infrastructure in southern Louisiana. So they'll take a gas line and pipe it straight to Starbase, Louisiana, and then that'll probably get teed off into either one gigantic LNG facility for liquefaction there or multiple different. My guess is going to be just one. If they, for example, the LNG plant over at Port of Brownsville, when all 5 trains are done and up and running, that can do 27 million metric tons of LNG every year. 27 million. You just take one of those trains and have it supply. You build one of those trains, which those are pretty big. A train is basically it's a collection of liquefaction, purification, and whatnot for gas to liquid for LNG. So basically, what they'll likely do is they'll go ahead. They might build one of those at Louisiana, and they'll have all the LNG they could ever want. I wouldn't be shocked if that's what they did.
And this seems like the team that rolled the booster stand out of the way, leaving the pad. So hopefully this should be the final vehicles heading away from Pad 2 before they begin the prop load and testing of Booster 21.
And my bad, the LNG plant at Port Brownsville will be 10 trains, not 5. 10 total, I think, once it's all said and done. Dave Avery corrected me there. But yeah, that's going to be their solution for that. ASUs are going to be kind of fun. They'll have to build some pretty big ones. The power requirements they're going to need to power Starbase Louisiana is nuts. It's insanity.
Yeah, I've heard
like
Arizona
a new
State
fusion
University
reactor.
is. I've heard Arizona State University is pretty wild. For those who don't know, ASU is the Air Separation Unit.
Yeah. Lots of acronyms. I'm trying to remember to explain them all.
Oh, there's no acronyms in spaceflight. What are you talking about?
Brian Weber and acronyms? No.
If you want acronym overload, just go look at the Artemis program and shuttle.
Good, or just NASA in general, because NASA loves their acronyms.
Yeah, almost like NASA itself is one, although technically, yeah, I guess it is an acronym. It's not an initialism, but yeah.
Wow.
There is a difference. I have been called out many times by people because it's the internet for calling it an acronym when it's initialism. An acronym, I believe, is one where it's a bunch of letters that mean something, but you can say it together as one word, whereas an initialism is, the individual letters. So like FAA is an initialism, NASA is an acronym, if I'm remembering that rightly. See, I know, hey, I can't do math,
English.
but I can do grammar. Anyway, as we approach now the bottom of the hour here, almost in Starbase, Texas, coming up hopefully soon, we should start getting towards prop load. Would there be any other indication, Ryan, besides just frost happening that it would be starting?
We're basically waiting for the methane reclaim vent to turn off and the 2 subcooler vents to turn on and stay on, which and if they keep going like this for the next 30 seconds, then I would say we might be into prop load. Give it a minute here, though.
We'll have to see.
Maybe we might be into prop load.
And again, a reminder, members at any level can see it from all the different angles themselves with the members multi-view that is live for today's testing. That's the ones that we're talking about, right?
Yep, those are really into, the methane one just turned off a little bit, so I wouldn't say we're into prop load yet, but we're close because basically those, when they're really powerful columns like this, it means that there's a lot of pressure behind them. And when there's that much pressure behind them, it means they're flowing a lot of liquid nitrogen through the subcooler, which means they're sub-chilling the prop. So with the methane reclaim vent dying down and both of those pretty powerful, I would say we are into prop load at this point in time. They're maintaining, they're pretty steady. So hopefully we might see some LOX frost here in the next 5-10 minutes, give or take. So I would say at this point, I'd say a T0 of 105, 110, somewhere around that area.
Right around when they expected. They said testing between 12 and 1, and that puts us right around 1 o'clock Central Time. Boy, that is a lot of haze. Why am I forgetting the word for all of that?
Vapor,
thank you. This is going to be a fun flame trench later. My brain's like this already. Matt Hicks saying Starbase and Starbase 2. Notice the spelling for the Louisiana one.
Doe?
Starbase toe?
Doe? What's the...
Yeah.
Oh. 2 in other languages, but
Well, because it's like
Starbase dry.
it's like because all the sports teams there, it's like Go Tigers, GEAUX. But anyway,
so one thing that they could be launching out of Louisiana are depots.
Wow.
boy,
Anybody?
Wow.
Oh, come on, that was clever.
boy.
That was come on,
Even
that was
Sawyer
clever.
didn't laugh at that.
No, you heard what I added onto it though.
No,
I said boy because po boy,
no, that's too far.
depot, so po boy. Yeah.
That's too far.
Anyway. Space Pope saying more launch pads equals more Pope vents. This makes me very happy. Yes, indeed. It sure does. It makes me say, then yay!
We got a thumbs down from Alex in the back channel.
What does he know about humor anyway?
Yeah. Come on. I mean, then yay. I'll come up with some better ones for Flame Trench. These are just off the top of my head right now. Boy. 12 minutes up now, 12:30 p.m. Central Time. Keep an eye out, folks, for if we start seeing frost on the booster here. Of course, if you do see it, you know the drill. Just shout frost in chat so that we can all see it too.
In all caps too. Our mods love that.
Oh, they
Yeah.
love it so much. Yeah. Noah is wondering for booster fueling, how much faster can they fuel it without it overheating, Ryan?
I
Or
don't
are they
know.
kind of at the fastest at this point?
I don't know how fast, in theory, you could actually load a booster because, yeah, there are thermal considerations, but I mean, in theory, you could always just make the line larger so you have less friction and you just have a higher flow rate with a larger line, supply line. That is getting into some thermodynamics with cryogenics, and the math you'd have to do with that is not stuff I can do, at least not on stream. Certainly not on stream. I bet they could probably load this in 15 minutes if they really, really, really wanted to. More pumps, more subcoolers, larger supply lines. You could probably fill it really, really fast. The question becomes is then the power requirements to actually flow that much liquid propellant that fast. It gets even more ridiculous. Like they already have a decently high amount of power requirements for this. That gets even higher. And also you have to use more LN2 to chill it down. So you want that medium to where you want to go fast so you can maintain the temperature inside the tank, but you just also don't want to use too much power, and you also don't want to use a ridiculous amount of LN2. So I think there's that kind of happy medium, and I think they're somewhere where they're at. I think their goal in the end is to do sub 30 minutes. I don't know if they'll go any faster than that, but they could probably go a lot faster if they really, really wanted to. It's just, again, you need more room for more subcoolers, more storage, more LN2 storage, more pumps. So it's just, you could be space constraint and many other things along those lines. But yeah.
I mean, they want air-like operations, so Ryan, as someone who works with planes, in case that hasn't ever been mentioned on this stream, how long does it take to fill up a normal jetliner, say 737?
737 obviously depends on the fuel load you're using. For a normal flight, you're probably talking 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, give or take, to load it. It also, it depends on if you need 20,000 pounds of fuel or if you're going to fuel it all the way up to near max, which is like 44,000 pounds, which is not a lot. And of course, the larger the plane, the longer it takes. But you can also have larger supply lines, so you can have your flow rate is faster. So it depends on a lot of different factors, but usually it's like 20 minutes, give or take, or less than that.
Yeah, and we're talking something that's a lot larger and a lot heavier, takes a lot more propellant, and the propellant is a lot colder. And to get that to about the same of about 30 minutes, which already it's at, 38 minutes? So, kind of mind-boggling. Bonkies, one might say.
Bonkies, exactly.
Again, as we keep an eye out for frost on the vehicle, keep an eye out for a chat. Again, you know the drill. If you see frost, let us know. ResistoJet's wondering, Max, probably talked about this already. We actually haven't. But have you spotted any changes to Booster 21 for this static fire, or know the reason for no first attempt, I guess, why they were talking about doing it earlier this week and then didn't?
Just based on the observations we made on the first attempt on Wednesday, it did not look like the booster was the issue. It looked like that teams were inside the launch mount service structure there on the lower left-hand side of the launch mount for a lot longer than we presume they should have been, and then they immediately went back, and we saw crews working on the launch mount for pretty much the whole day. Obviously, there was more work left to be done because they did not test yesterday. So with the booster itself, it didn't seem like the booster was the issue at all, which is good, because if it was the issue, then we'd be looking at probably a lot longer of a delay than just 2 days. But yeah, it looked like something in the launch mount was the issue, not the actual booster, which I'd prefer if there was ever going to be an issue. But now we see a punched-in view on the base of the booster now looking for frost, hopefully visible here in the next few minutes.
Yeah, already looking better than what we saw the other day, at least.
Yeah, we're actually in a prop load, unlike the other day, which we should be. The vapor is clouding our view of the booster here every once in a while.
Great view there.
Yeah.
Great view.
Darn you, SpaceX couldn't have put it somewhere else. Also,
we should be seeing frost any moment now. I was trying to see if the QDs were getting frosty, but it's kind of hard to tell with all that vapor blocking it too. But they're definitely still in prop load here. Nothing's changed. Both of those vapor columns have a lot of pressure behind it, so they are still going.
that's what we like to see. And what will be going, hopefully, once we get to the test as well, is the deluge system. And Max, how much of the deluge system do they actually use during a static fire? Because obviously you've got underneath, you've got the detonation suppression system, you've got the upper deck. How much of that do they typically use for the static fire?
Yeah, so as you were just saying, there are two separate parts of the actual deluge system on the launch mount. They have the flame trench and flame bucket, which is what they use to flow water over the actual flame diverter and throughout
frost.
the... Do we have frost?
Yep, we got vapor coming off the booster. So,
Ooh, we do.
once the vapor
well,
the
go away.
Good timing there. Good timing there. Back to the question at hand. So yeah, there's the bottom portion, which is where the flame diverter is, and then on the very top of the launch mount, which is where the booster quick disconnects are. There's also a water system up there that fires up and out, mostly towards the tower to help out with the pad avoidance maneuver once the vehicle is underway. For a static fire test like this, they have no need for the actual top deck unless they actually perform a TN long 3 and the booster decides to leave the ground for whatever reason. They have no reason to use the top side of the launch mount deluge today. So we should only be seeing water flowing through the flame diverter there, and obviously the DSS or the detonation suppression system as well from the very bottom of the launch mount. They're kind of flowing towards the middle there, and then we'll see a splash of water as the initial pressure flow comes out, and then water will come out the trench. And all of that will immediately be flashed to steam once the exhaust is firing down and outwards out of the trench. So we should only be seeing the bottom of the deluge fire today. Although, Ryan, I think it was on a previous test, either with booster 20 or 19, where well after the test they actually did activate the top deck for some reason, right?
Yeah, it was after the static fire. They, during detanking or nearly fully detanked, they just fired off the top deck deluge. They might do that.
Was that booster 19 or 20?
I think it was 19.
Okay.
They might do it again. Who knows? But they have some time before they're going to fly this thing at this rate. It's at least another 2 weeks from the sound of things. The reason for that is probably final checks, ship and booster, and then on top of that, probably some regulatory things with going to orbit and stuff like that. So dotting your I's, crossing your T's, that kind of thing, I think is what's left. I would expect to see a top deck deluge between when they take this booster off and before the flight, to purge the system and test it before the flight happens, just to make sure everything's still working fine. So I wouldn't be shocked if we see that over the course of the next little while.
Yeah, same reason that they'll crack open fire hydrants, even though there's no fire, just to clear them out, get rid of all the junk, and make sure that if there was a fire, they have the real water for it. Same like this. So when there is fire, because there will be when the engine's light, that's the case. And also to keep the temperatures in there sub-Sharpie, for those who remember. Patrick Bob, good to see you again. A name that we see here quite often at NSF, and we very much appreciate gifting 50 Red Team memberships. Thank you so much for that. And now's the perfect time, too, because we do have our members multi-view up and running for this as well. And that is for any level of support at NSF. You'll get to see all of the different cameras that we have out there. And trust me, there are a lot of them, mostly all pointed towards the booster here. So you should get some awesome views of the static fire attempt. Also, let me thank Woodworker Don, saying NSF, nerdiest space friends. That should be our initialism. The Only Alan, saying Starbase 2. I guess between all the different spellings. I believe that's Aegean C. Love you, NSF, and all you nerds, but it's Gator Base, Louisiana, and I'm sticking to it. And then Wolf Caller coming in with the support, no message. Thank you very much.
Gator Base does sound kind of rad, not gonna lie.
Yeah, there was people saying that the seats in Starship when they have crew there should be in gator skin and all that stuff. All the memes are coming there.
Does it really qualify? Because there's still gators and KSC,
Yeah, I was thinking about that, but the space, there was already space stuff here to call it the Space Coast over
True.
Gator Coast or something, and actually Louisiana has a larger gator population than Florida, believe it or not. So I think it's either like very, very close to or over the gator population in Florida. Like it's very swampy.
Yeah. Speaking of swampy air here, the wind really not in our favor today.
Nice segue.
Normally it's calm and, not a big deal, but today it just happens to be right in front of all the cameras where we would want to be able to see the frost level going up.
Like every single time we zoom in trying to get a window into view on the ice wall, it's just boom, more vapor comes across and ruins it.
Like that?
Like exactly like this. It's like it knows. It knows.
Couldn't have done that if you tried with the timing. Oh, geez. But the frost line is moving pretty quickly up to this point. And Ryan, you think we will see a full LOX load today?
Yeah, we should see a pretty much full LOX load today. And then we'll see a little bit of methane. We won't see any methane frost until the LOX load gets up to it's right about at the top of the taller chines, basically. So once the LOX load gets about up to there is when we should start seeing about methane frost. You get about a ring of methane, and then the entire transfer tube is filled with methane, so it's a decent amount of methane. And then they'll stop loading. Those two big vents over there those two big vents will basically stop. And then the system will go ahead and purge. And once that happens, they purge, goes to flight pressure, then we'll likely get a static fire.
I hate that. It happened again. It just
We
happened
should just
again.
stop using
Every
that view,
time.
'cause every time
Every
it's
time.
clear.
They're just messing with Jay Keegan here. It's just messing with Jay.
Yeah. Shout out to Jay. who's been-
When the lock sling gets about there, give or take, is when we'll get methane frost.
And mind you, as well, when the time comes for the actual static fire, most of this vapor will not be there. Tank farm activity will wrap up, and that cloud that we're seeing there on the left will mostly not be there. So our views will clear up towards T0.
Also, with the wind, too, I can't show it because there's a cloud of vapor in the way at the moment.
There's a little gap coming up here.
Yep.
So
Oh,
there's
we have a window.
There's a LOX drain vent down there. And that'll like shoot off that way. And then there's a methane one on the other side that'll kind of shoot off in the same direction, especially with the wind. So then at that point, we shouldn't have any blocked views of the trench before they fire. And then, of course, the deluge will happen. And then it's kind of hard to see in the trench when the engines are firing. But,
Did you just draw on stream?
Yeah, I was about to say, do we have web art now? You've been doing all the circles?
Hashtag Webby
I
art.
have been. That's me. Yeah.
Who decided it was a good idea to give you that kind of access?
Hi.
Oh. All right, now it's your turn to do a giraffe. 'Cause if you now have drawing
I
access,
did a
it's
giraffe
part
Oh,
of-
before.
no.
I have
Part of the
done. I have done
NSF way.
one.
Okay,
I
draw a
have done
camel.
one.
Draw a camel.
Anyway, you know it's gonna forsake you, Jay, because you zoomed in here. Well, actually, no, we're getting a decent view there of that load continuing up here with the locks. And again, as you pointed out, the transfer tube inside, it's not really easy to see because it's smack dab in the middle of everything, about the size of a Falcon 9, running all the way up.
Yep.
And so
Like-
we'll hopefully see a ring of that soon.
Just for reference, that transfer tube, just the booster transfer tube, holds about 97 metric tons of liquid methane.
And it's just the actual transfer tube. It's not
That's
meant to
just
be an
the
actual
transfer tube.
tank.
Golly. That still boggles my
That's
mind
more.
here.
That's more prop than most rockets all combined for all their tanks.
I think we did the math on like when Pad 2 was first coming into operations. I think at the current flow rate, it would fill Electron in like 9 seconds or something. Like
wouldn't take
literally
long.
9 seconds. It would not take long. No.
I
Like
don't
with
doubt that.
when this LOX tank is full, obviously this is a ballpark number because there's baffles and there's other things in here you can't account for. But this is accounting for the volume of the LOX landing tank and the methane transfer tube, and it's a little over 2,900 metric tons of liquid oxygen just in the booster LOX tank. It's a lot. A lot of prop in this vehicle. More prop in this vehicle than any other booster in history, really. It's kind of nuts. And it's going to get even more because this booster is currently, it's about 71 meters, give or take, 71, 72. It's going to go up to about 80. And stretch it to 80. And as we saw, it looks like ship is going to stretch to like 60-something, 65-something meters. Based off of the Starbase Louisiana renders, it's gonna look weird. But the proportions,
Ship is basically going to be as big as the first version Super Heavy booster.
Yep, pretty much.
It's so weird looking. Again, I'll save my thoughts for the flame trench because it's just weird. But anyway,
Look at that. I mean, come on. Like
it's so stretched. It doesn't fit.
I wish they would make the towers taller.
Same.
That was my thought too. But
They
Like,
honestly,
I don't know why they
still
haven't.
may. They still may. Honestly,
I don't
there's still
think they
plenty of time. But like, yeah, that looks very strange.
If they were going to make the towers taller, they would have started with Pad 2's tower and made them taller than V4's planned for, and then they would have either modified or completely redone Pad 1 or LC-39A's towers, and they did it. They have kept it that way, and it's like, okay.
Okay, Mr. Pessimism.
it's not incredibly easy to change that over because all the way up to the top, those are filled with concrete. It's not simplistic to just take the top off the tower and slide in a few sections. It's not necessarily easy.
What do you mean Blue Origin did it? They just took the whole
Yeah,
tower
but they
down.
didn't. Their columns aren't filled with concrete.
I was referring to how quickly they took down the first of the two, but yes.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Anyway,
oh, that.
Ouch.
Yeah. Ouch.
that, yeah. Probably continuing here, if the timeline is to be believed, at least based off of when we observed them starting the prop load, we should be about 15, 20-ish minutes away from a static fire attempt, if my mathing is mathing.
Doing math on
Yeah.
stream is a very bad idea. Sorry, don't do that.
Oh, I know. I'm well aware.
We're about a
Yeah.
third of the way up the LOX tank now, a little bit more than a third.
We're getting there.
Mm-hmm.
Let me continue to thank some more people here. And again, if you have questions, tag us at NASASpaceflight at NSF. It makes it easier to see. So we got a whole bunch of you with us. We appreciate over 8,000 people joining us right now on a Friday afternoon for some Starship testing, where Booster 21 is now getting prop load ahead of a static fire test. The city of Starbase did post earlier on X that they are expecting the engine test, which usually means ignition, especially when they say to expect smoke and rumbling. Frankly, saying great job as usual to the NSF team. Also, thanks SpaceX for rescheduling the static fire for my day off. Very nice. Pun Token, always love seeing that name. It's Starship Blue Bayou, as in Blue Bayou and Bayou. HBK Boys becoming a Pad Rat member. Enjoy that member's multi-view and some of the other perks that come with being a member. See some of those emojis in there. The Observer, I am putting my money where my mouth is. Starbase Dagobah. I can't pronounce that. I know it's a whole southern thing, but I can't pronounce it. Due to
Dagobah.
swampiness in the area. What is it?
Dagobah.
Thank
The
you.
Dagobah system.
Yeah. Please try to convince me otherwise. Let's see here. And then Stuart Young saying, I vote for Cajun base or crawfish base. Why don't we just call it Booyah base?
What?
Because it's the base of some of the stocks and stuff. It's
How
and
about
it's a base star.
how about this? And this is wild. So this is wild. Okay, just brace yourself. What about Starbase?
Yeah, I don't like it.
Nah.
Too many things already named Star. Even Elon has said, yeah, we kind of killed that and did too much Star stuff. So he named another thing Starbase.
Of course it did.
Let's see here. I saw one person saying, asking, are the chines closed, Ryan? I don't think I see any duct tape.
They are. The last two boosters, they've basically already closed them out. They've got they're bolted together with metal strips. They're not welded. I know I've seen a lot of people say they are. They're not. They're just bolted together because otherwise it'd be really hard to take the chine covers off and access them down the line when you start reusing these boosters. But those are definitely covered up. The engines are missing some of their aero cover stuff right over one of the, I forget which autogen line it is. I think it's over the autogen line stuff. It's missing that around a lot of the, I think almost all of the engines. There's 4 engines that don't get it, and those are the engines that are right under the chines, but the rest of them don't have it. We don't know if it has FTS. I'm going to assume that it does not have it yet, but we can never tell, but I'm going to assume that it doesn't. And I don't think there's anything else for it to close out other than those few things. And who knows internally what other stuff they might want to do to it. But yeah, it's pretty close to being ready.
Pretty close. I like that sound, at least. By the way, I didn't get it because I know I'm going to catch so much flack for this. I shouldn't say it with 8,400 people watching, but I'm not a big Star Wars fan, okay?
What?
I've tried. I've watched
Excuse
them
me.
multiple times. I've tried, and I can't get into it.
What? You need to leave stream right now. Actually, in fact, you're fired.
I mean,
You're not my
Max,
boss.
you don't have any way to talk because you haven't seen Spaceballs, so you can't talk.
As if that's hardly a valid comparison.
Yeah, that's still no.
Yeah.
As if it's an actual comparison.
Like I'm just gonna say this out of the three of us here. Let's see here. I have seen and rewatched multiple times Star Trek, Stargate, just about everything of Star Wars, plus reading Legends, Babylon 5, Farscape, Firefly. Oh boy, I can just start listing them off even more and more. But like, I don't know who else other than maybe Chris B here at NSF or maybe Das has seen all that. I'm trying to think. I don't know if anyone else has because like I love some of that stuff.
Yeah, chat.
And then I go into comics and I'm like,
Right, and chat, I'm a Trekkie, okay? It's not that I don't like any of those genres. I'm
Plus
just
The
more
Expanse.
of a Trekkie than Star Wars fan.
Yeah,
So-
I'm a nerd. Thank you. I am.
Yes, I mean, we're all
Battlestar
nerds here.
Galactica. Yep. BSG. Just
I mean,
did a rewatch of that recently.
We're all nerds here. We're literally sitting watching a metal tube get loaded up right now with oxygen and methane. So, if you're here watching this, welcome to the nerddom. You're welcome here. Yes, I am a huge Whovian, okay? I'll include that in there too.
Doctor Who too. Jesus.
Major Whovian, classic and new. I'm rewatching New Who, actually. I'm just about to get to the end of Series 1 with the Ninth Doctor. Oh, he should have stayed longer. Anyway, speaking of staying longer, hopefully we won't be staying here too much longer because they'll be getting closer to that static fire attempt. We can see the LOX load continuing. Have we seen any of the rings start forming yet on the methane line, even though we know that obviously they've been loading it through the interior transfer tube that they have?
Not yet, but
yeah,
very
I haven't
soon.
seen any frost building up on the methane tank yet. But Ryan said that they would, or that we might be able, we might start seeing that once the frost gets to the height of the taller chines there, which should be soon because the frost line is rising pretty rapidly.
I'd like to see. By the way, to the person who asked, it's the most stereotypical answer, but 10 is my doctor. If we're going classic Who, it's tie between 4 and 5. So I guess, Max, can you kind of walk us through the timeline here of what to expect once they have this thing fully loaded? What are we going to be looking for?
So our best indicators that the vehicle is loaded to what SpaceX wants it to be is we will see both LOX and methane drain valves open up on the launch mount to clear out any lines in or around the launch mount of any residual propellant. Because if something was to go wrong and any of that in the pipes was to ignite, that would create a bad day for a lot of people. So that will be our biggest indicator that we are within probably the better part of like 2 minutes compared to the T0 that SpaceX is targeting. Then that is when the vehicle is loaded to what SpaceX wants it to be. So that is what we are looking out for. Once we see about a ring of methane frost on the vehicle, that should we should start seeing that here momentarily. In fact, I may or may not see some discoloration on the methane tank. Some-ish. Not frost, but discoloration. Which comes before frost.
Yeah, just that it's starting to get cooler.
Yeah. Am I seeing things, Ryan?
Should be any minute here.
Okay.
Because we're almost at the top of those chines, and they slow load the methane because they're not going to do a full load of methane, so they only run like probably 2 out of the 4 pumps, maybe even only 1 out of the 4 pumps to load this amount of methane because it's not that much comparatively to having to load all that liquid oxygen. And at that point, they run all 5 pumps for that to do it in a time. Which, I mean, they started loading they really had LOX frost at 12:35. So it's been about 25 minutes almost, and the LOX level is a little low.
They stop?
They have not stopped. The soap coolers are still going. It just feels a little bit slow. But you definitely should have methane frost shortly here.
By the way, while we have this view up, can you point out which all of these are in terms of the which one's the methane subcoolers, reclaim vents, stuff like that? Just because we keep talking about it, but which all those plumes of vapor? What are we seeing?
That was an accident, by the way.
I was like, what are you what are you pointing out there?
I'm pointing out the booster.
Okay.
Basically, that's your LOX vent. Right there is your CH4 vent. So next to it. So those are the main subcooler vents right there. Those you can tell are really, really going. When they've got that much pressure behind them, you are basically, you're loading propellant at that point. You can see the LOX line over there, and I definitely see discoloration on the methane tank now. What will likely, those two vents over there will turn off when they're done with loading. You'll have a vent around here turn on, which that is the methane drain vent, which is basically them draining, and I think we've got methane frost now. Yep.
Yes,
we do.
Yes, we do.
Though that methane drain will turn on when they're done loading everything and they're just draining the excess methane out of the service structure. That's when they'll go and turn that on. But yeah, here we go. We got methane frost. They'll fill about a ring. They'll fill about up to there or so, give or take. That's not a straight line, but you know.
Can only ask you to do so much.
But yeah, that'll fill up to about there. And then once that's done, and once the LOX is done, which LOX is getting there, they'll of course shut everything off, drain it, pressurize it, and then we should hopefully get a static fire today. We'll see how long they do it for. I kind of want another 24-second static fire. That was awesome. I want to see another one.
Same.
Yes,
yeah.
please.
Very same.
And Ian, when that does come, chat, I mean, I know I end up getting lost in watching it. Time it. So when we get to that point, time it and put in chat how long you got at least, and we can get a rough time of how long the static fire is once it begins. But Max, I'm wondering, I mean, I know the answer, but I'm sure people are wondering, I should say, how come we don't fill up the methane all the way to the top for the static fire? Why just do a ring of it?
Essentially, that is more fuel for an explosion should the worst case scenario happen on the pad, like we saw, unfortunately, with New Glenn back in May. If you have more methane, that is more methane to react with your oxygen or mix with the oxygen, and therefore increase your combustion and therefore creating a bigger boom. Like again, should the worst case scenario happen. So they fill the LOX tank all the way up to serve as a weight ballast, mostly for the booster, and have less wear on the actual launch mount hold down clamps themselves. And then they will only load as much methane on the booster as they need for however long they want to fire, plus some to give them some margin. Because the last thing you want to do is run the tank dry and then have gas flow through the engines, like actual gas or pockets of air, because that will damage your engines incredibly. So that is why we see so little methane on these tests. It's the very same case with ships over at Massey's. It's about reducing your explosive risks once the vehicle is alive on the pad.
Yep, you got to keep it in place, but you also don't want to have more in there than you need to.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me thank some people because we're getting close to the spicy part here. The Jimmy Danley becoming a Pad Rat member. And again, a reminder, now is the time to do it because we have the members multi-view up for any level of support. So you'll get to see all the different cameras that we have for the static fire attempt. And there's a lot of them. You get a 9-box right off the top of, Hollywood Squares style, all the different people. So we see even the venting happening there. It's worth it. John, Mr. Coffee, gifting a Red Team membership. Neji, I believe, becoming a Pad Rat member. John, Mr. Coffee, also saying, "Go Giants." He knows I'm a Jets fan. That's just payback. Phil says, It's okay, Sawyer. We forgive you. You're the pun geek. I appreciate it. Thank you, because we don't want any Star Wars happening in chat over my opinions.
Wow.
Scott Fornwall gifting 5 Red Team memberships, and then Shane Wardle also gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Thank you very much for that. And then Juan coming into my support here saying, I agree with Sawyer. Star Wars is overrated. I watched all the movies for the first time as an adult and thought they were just okay. A lot of hype seems to come from nostalgia, not from how well the films actually are. And again, a reminder, be nice to people. We're all entitled to our own opinion. So just don't go after people for their opinions on this. I mean, you can have your own, and you can argue why you think yours is the best. But
Star Wars is better. Just saying.
Or why Star Trek is better than Star Wars. But, just be nice about it. All right. Coming up now on 1:05. It's around the time. Again, they said between 12 and 1 originally for that test timing. So we are close to that. I mean, we're past that point, but we're close to the time that we expected here, at least. I mean, Max, this is looking pretty close to full, is it not?
I think the LOX tank still has a bit more left to go, unless they want to about cut it off here. The methane tank is about where we would see it. But our best visual indicators that prop load is done is seeing both LOX and methane vents around the base of the launch mount open, and see clouds of vapor flowing off pretty much on the ground and having that all drain away from the launch mount itself. So we're getting very close either way. I would say roughly within 10 minutes. Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think we should be around 10 minutes.
That would be exciting. And again, of course, we're seeing all of that venting coming out there like that. That's totally normal, right?
Totally.
And the cool thing about those is that, of course, they're for maintaining pressure as well inside the vehicle, but SpaceX also uses those in flight.
They do, but that's also, again, for pressure regulation in the actual tanks themselves. And so these are not depressed. They're having the pressure regulated in the tank as more propellant is flowed into it, because you had to replace the gas that was in the tank, whether it just be air or carbon dioxide or helium, whatever it may be, or nitrogen. That is going to be replaced by a fluid, and that is what SpaceX has to flow out of the booster to have that replaced by either oxygen or methane, depending on what tank you're using. So that is common to see it purging like that. So nothing to be worried about yet, or at all to this point. We have nothing to suggest or indicate that they are aborting the test for today, because the frost lines are still rising on both tanks. So everything is pointing towards a test here, hopefully in the next maybe 8, 9, 10 minutes or so.
Thank you for your number choice. We're getting close, though. That's what we like to see. And, of course, hearing some of that venting still from our microphones that we have around the area there. Resistojet was wondering, though, Ryan, because obviously there's the big vent. What was that other small vent from that close-up view that we saw?
They have many different valves and pressure relief vents all over the vehicle. Some are bigger, some are smaller. That's just basically it. They have a ton of different vents and valves all over these tanks. Usually at the top of them, as Max was talking about, to regulate pressure and whatnot. Which we should be getting very close to methane finish. Subcooler looks like it turned off for the methane. And LOX has definitely died down a lot. So we should be near finishing of prop load here. We should see those the vents that are kind of below here, below that area, which one of them turned on. That's the LOX one down there. You can see it right around there. That is the LOX drain, which means LOX loading is complete. The next one that'll turn on is going to be kind of down around there, which is the methane drain as well. So LOX load's complete. Methane is basically completed. We're just waiting for that drain line to come on. The next big thing will be there's a vent that's kind of like right on the edge of the wall right there, right on the diagonal part. That vent will turn on, which is the purge of air and stuff on the inside of that service structure. That's that final purge. And for those who have watched the Starship streams or whatnot, you have heard it used to be a T minus 40 seconds. Now it's T minus 60 seconds. They have that purge system, and you hear like valves clear on the SpaceX audio. I don't know if you heard it. You hear the where all the valves clear. That's basically that point. And then DSS will turn on around T minus 20 seconds, and then 17 seconds or so, you get your deluge, and then firing. So we're waiting for that drain line, and then we're waiting for that vent to turn on. That vent will definitely give us that we are within 60 seconds of a fire. So that's the next big thing we're waiting on.
So we are getting that much closer. Again, for those just joining, hopefully we are about to see a static fire test here of Booster 21 in Starbase, Texas, over at Pad 2. This is the next booster that SpaceX is planning to use for its upcoming Starship Flight. We've been seeing them loading propellant, so we see a lot of the liquid oxygen and a little bit of the liquid methane loaded up. Prop load should just about be wrapping up, as Ryan was mentioning there. We are NSF, NASASpaceflight.com, a bunch of space geeks enthusiasts who love doing this, who happen to have our own cameras as well, all around Starbase, Texas, bringing you these views. If you are hyped for this, now's a good time to give a thumbs up. That also lets YouTube know to send more people here because we are that close to a static fire and we want more people to join and see how awesome this is. So if you got a moment, just go ahead and do that. That way we can get all of the space geeks here to join us for this excitement. Because come on, we all love Starship here. We all want to see it launch. What was that, Ryan?
T minus 1 minute vent passed on the other side of the trench.
So less than a minute to go then?
Yeah, we're probably like 50 seconds, 45 seconds here.
All right. So now we're going to keep an eye out, as you pointed out, for the DSS.
DSS, there it is.
Next up will be the deluge, and then we will be quiet and let you listen to the engine static fire. Here comes the deluge. Here we go.
Wow.
It's like 10 seconds.
Chat, like I was asking before, did you time it? How long did you get for that one, approximately? But man, that looks pretty good. I counted about 13 or 14 seconds myself.
Or a little over 10, but yeah.
I think close to 15 seconds was, I think, the rough. I guess what it came out to be. But oh my goodness, that is a lot of. That pad looks busy.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So what else is happening at the pad now, by the way, Ryan?
Sorry, I was counting that. Basically, at this point, all systems are safing. They'll depress the booster off of flight pressure. The deluge is in depress. And then, so yeah, they're kind of safing all the systems, depressing things. There's 2 big clouds. They should be
awesome.
Immediately into detanking. I'd have to take a look to see if those vents are on, but all the camera views of those vents are blocked by the gigantic plumes.
Oh my goodness! Look at this from the Margaritaville Hotel.
Oh my
South Padre
God.
Island. By the way, stick around, folks. We have replays coming, so don't leave just yet. We've got a bunch of different cameras out there that was looking on this, so check out the replays coming up. Stick around for those. Is it just me, or did the
Yes, we are in
deluge
detank. We are in detank, by the way.
Okay.
So
All right,
they're detanking methane. So
as planned. Is it just me, or did the deluge system seem like it wasn't as, I don't know, as big as usual?
I thought that looked pretty normal for a static fire.
Fired for a bit longer before ignition than I thought it was going to, but this is really our only third data point for a full test for a booster on Pad 2. So maybe they're trying out something different if it really was different than Booster 20s, but that, at least to my eyes, looked pretty nominal.
It just seems like such a large plume. I don't remember Booster 20s being that visible from South Padre Island.
I think we got it's about 14 seconds. Is what it looks like. I just counted it. So it looks about 14. So not as long as other one, but I think that test with 20 was a one-off. I think they're trying to. I don't think they want to hit the trench with that long of a static fire again. It did a number on the trench. So
Yeah. Speaking of the trench, I see people asking, why is there 2 smoke plumes? Max, it's because of the new flame diverter, right?
Yep, by the bidirectional flame diverter. So you have a plume coming out of the southeast, and then on the other side to the northwest. The wind obviously today is blowing more towards the northwest, so that is why both clouds are being carried off that way. But that really gives you a sense of scale as to the amount of power being controlled here in the flame trench, despite only firing for 15 seconds. I mean, that is a lot of steam, a ton of dust, and just big clouds on both sides coming out. So there was a photo here in the back channel from where I think it was Caesar was watching from that looks absolutely freaking epic. But my word, yeah, that really just shows you the amount of power you were trying to control here during these tests.
And Ryan, how would this compare on a launch day? So how long is the it attached to the pad? How long would the engines be running before it finally releases? Keeping in mind, I know that they didn't use the top deck deluge for this kind of testing.
It's a lot longer. The basically the ridge and the trench are only used for like a solid 6 to 8 seconds. 8 seconds total for a launch. After which point the exhaust is usually far enough away, especially with how quickly these lift off. It's not very long at all. That's static fires do much more of a number on these trenches than the launches do. It's built mainly for launches, not for static fires. They did build it to withstand the static fire, obviously, because it'd been dumb if they didn't build it for that. But of course, that is a lot higher of and longer thermal load than a launch is. But either way, it looks like everything looked fine to me. 14 to 15 second static fire, somewhere around there, of Booster 21. All 33 engines would be my guess because, well, I think it would have ended sooner if it hadn't been all 33 engines. And yeah, that's good news for the program. It's good news for Flight 14. The next steps are going to be to detank this vehicle, likely roll it back sometime tomorrow would be my guess. They'll probably get it off the pad tonight, possibly roll it back in the morning tomorrow or something like that. And then the final steps for, Flight 14 to get it to launch, which is expected to be a full orbital launch.
That's going to be exciting. Oh, I can't wait for that. Let me take a moment, thank some people as our team continues to pull the replays in the background. Don't worry, we haven't forgotten about them. We just have to pull them because we have a lot of cameras, so it takes a little bit. Those who are watching the multi-view know it's a lot of cameras. Algo RL, I'm amazed by the camera work. Thank you all. Shout out to the amazing team out in the field, in Starbase, and of course the Starbase Live operators that remotely operate some of them as well. So we've got actual people down there with some of the cameras and a bunch of remotely operated ones. So we appreciate the support. It allows us to keep feeding our robot army. Frederick, I dedicate this static fire to my OG King Harold V, who passed away this morning. Booster 21 is wearing his crown. Yes, to all the people in Norway, we send our condolences with that. Malk saying David Tennant is the oldest droid in Star Wars Ahsoka, just because he's one of the best actors in my opinion. Could still be in a movie that I'm not a fan of. Anyway, Andy Haynes, if you ain't seen, I recommend watching Red Dwarf. We had Flippers gifting 5 Red Team memberships, and then Krillex with the $20 support saying, let's go to Mars, please. I'm not getting any younger. I mean, these are the steps needed. We're getting closer, especially as we see more vehicles like this get ready to launch, see more launches, get all of these launch pads up and running. Oh, man. I'm also seeing that one of our cameras in the back channel is going to need a little bit of cleaning of that robot army, because it may or may not have been a little
Danger close.
covered. Yeah. But, I mean, it gave us great views up to that point. Oh, boy.
This
okay.
this booster had the longest cryo to static fire timeline of Block 3 boosters yet. Booster 19 was 37 days, Booster 20 was 33 days, and this one was 42 days. The ultimate answer to universe, life, and everything. For those who don't know from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. But anyways, I think basically I think they had a few more things to add. I think they were trying to make sure that this booster survived. They need the boost back burn and the landing burn to go near perfect. They kind of have to have it so they can then catch 22, and because they want to get a flight out of KSC badly this year, or at least very early next year if they can. They need to really get off the ground running here, and I think they spent a little bit of extra time with this booster to make a few changes after the last flight and make sure things were good, and I think that's why it took a little bit longer.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you'd rather take the time and make sure everything's working and get it done right.
Indeed.
So I mentioned that we had one of our cameras out there that took a bit of a beating. So we have one frame, I believe, coming back from that camera.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. About that camera. Hey, Starbase team, I think it's going to need a clean when the road opens. Just saying.
This is what we mean when we say danger close.
Yeah, that's a CP11 camera. We call that one. It's seen better days. I think that may need some new glass, Max.
It just might. We'll have to wait until either Caesar or Colleen gets out there to look at it once all said and done. But this camera certainly does look pretty unhappy.
Yeah. And again, your support will allow us to replace these broken cameras, and we very much appreciate it. And again, just, liking the stream and subscribing helps. And if you want something in return, don't forget, we also have shop.nasaspaceflight.com. There is so much cool Starship stuff on there. We've got Raptor engine stuff. We've got, the Engine Club. We've got, for those in the US, the etched drinking with the Raptor 3 design on it. We've got the Starship heat shield tile, sun shirts, the UPF 50 Plus. So much cool Starship stuff there. It helps us to fix all of our broken cameras, keep the teams happy, and you get something cool in return. So if you get a chance, check out shop.nasaspaceflight.com for some cool stuff.
One out for CP11.
Yep. R.I.P. CP11. R.I.C.P11, I guess. I don't know.
What?
Oh,
I get it.
By the way, Space Pope saying, not CP11. No.
Yeah.
See, there you go. I made a Star Wars reference for you folks.
How is that what?
The no.
There's tons of movies that say no.
The way
Dear God,
Peter says,
no.
Yeah, you're a little
Office.
delusional already.
I don't only just watch sci-fi.
No, please, God, no.
Parks and Rec.
Except for when it comes to replays. That we want to say yes, replays, yes.
Yes.
Team's
Yes.
pulling it, but we also kind of had the feeling to deal with a camera that, has seen better days. But
we're already seeing the frost line on the LOX tank decreasing now, actually.
And
a reminder, that's not a
the
live
methane
look
tank.
at.
Well,
that's not
actually,
live...
I would say this. So you see where the where you actually have the vapor coming off the tank?
Yep.
Rather than just the frost?
Yep.
That's your actual liquid level. So it's pretty far down already. The frost level is not in any way indicative of how much liquid's actually in the tank, because it takes a while for the tank to heat back up. Like there's no more methane inside the methane tank. It's only the transfer tube now. And the LOX tank is already like a quarter of the way detanked at this rate, almost a third. So they're going pretty quick with the detank.
That's exactly what I was about to point out. That when you're seeing the prop load, the frost line is a lot more accurate. When it comes to detanking, it's not as accurate because the walls are still going to be cold from all the super chilled propellants that are in it. And I mean, it doesn't take that long because it's South Texas. It gets hot. It'll melt off pretty quickly.
It's a very, very hot time of year down there. Like it's been pretty brutal here in the past couple of months, but in Starbase is also pretty bad.
Yeah, by here we mean Space Coast in Florida, which is also very hot right now. And yes, we do have air conditioning, Chris Bergen. It's great.
Yeah, I love air conditioning.
Air conditioning's great.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yep,
wonderful.
What will
actually,
also be great are the replays that I know the team is working on. I promise you. I'm not saying this to bump them along. I know they're working on it. I can literally see the process going through. So hopefully we should have those very shortly. So keep sticking around. Promise there are some awesome views in there. Let me also thank Joe Pastrito with a $100 support message here saying, great static fire. Thanks for the views. Thank you. Thank you very much for the for that support. Again, I always feel like I should be saying so much more when it's extra generous like that. I lose words. So thank you very much. CP11 thanks you as well.
CP, it might not be, depending on its condition.
Play taps for CP11.
The taps for CP11, yes.
CP11 V1 will appreciate that CP11 V2 will use that money to become into existence.
I think it's like V3 or 4 at this point. I don't remember though, but
yeah, it's V something crazy.
As I was gonna say, I don't think it's V1 CP11 anymore. I think we're far from that.
Yeah. And yeah, it's taking
a little
longer
because Kevin stole it.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Ninja Decimator saying, Sawyer, did you poke Crispy about aircon? That's cold. First off, great pun. Second off, Crispy mentioned it in the back channel. That's why only reason I bring it up, because he brought it up first.
Oh, that's right. Apparently, D stole it and Kevin saved it. I don't know. Is that I don't know about that. Anyway, CP11 has been around the block.
It's been around. Yes,
it's been around.
It's seen some things.
It has seen things. Yeah.
Was CP11 ever at the Cape?
I don't think so.
And I have not had the pleasure of meeting CP11. Anyway, the reason that it's taking a little longer to get the replays is because we had a lot of cameras. Anybody who was watching the members multi-view that's a member, you know how many we're talking about here. It was at least a 9 box, and then we had to cycle through more views. So there's a lot of them. But yeah, I'm also interested to see how much of CP11's footage we got before we lost comms with it. And if there was any local recording of it that can be salvaged.
Well, the thing about CP11's location is, depending on how the plume coming out of the trench behaves in the wind direction, either we'll get like in an initial wave of steam and gas flowing in front of it, and then it clears out, and we'll have a view of the booster, or it just completely washes over CP11 and does not come back. And seems like CP11 may have gone over. I don't know if that's actually true or not. We'll have to wait and find out. But it does not look good for it right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's safe to say that it won't have a view of the booster or the stand or anything after the fire, given that one frame that we showed earlier.
No.
But yeah, for those joining, we did have the static fire happen. What was it, about 15 minutes ago-ish?
Around there.
And seemed to be all engines. It seemed to look good. Approximately 15 seconds or so in length. And detanking continues now on the booster, which that LOX level getting a lot lower based off of where you can still see the active frost coming off the vehicle, or the vapor coming off the vehicle versus the frost line itself, which the frost line now is melting as well. Let's see here. Everyone's talking about CP11. How far into detanking is it safe to touch with my tongue? Still a while away.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
I would not do that.
That's spaceflight not responsible. What?
True. Get safe.
Here, Webris saying, apart from the flame trench issues, do you think they did 15-second static fire to avoid the moisture in the Raptor's turbo pump?
I think Booster 19's first successful test with all engines was around 10 to 15 seconds. I think Ryan was right in that Booster 20's 25-second test was not an anomaly, but probably a one-off thing to really test the launch mount and the W system in full and along with the booster. But I think around 10 to 15 seconds is going to be the norm for version 3 static fires going forward. Anything longer than that seems kind of excessive and more dangerous to the actual mount and flame trench itself. So I don't think it was for that reason.
No, I guess not. Yes, this will be the norm. And again, hopefully, as pointed out, the Sharpie will remain on the wall. Here's one from Taten90, wondering, why isn't the OLM higher up and the flame trench deeper, Ryan? I mean, I guess it's better than Pad 1's already, but...
It doesn't need to be. I'll just say this. Where the aft end of the booster is and where the top of the ridge cap is relatively the same as Shuttle and Saturn V and SLS is between the aft end of their vehicles and the top of the diverters. Maybe it's a little bit shorter, but also those don't have the same deluge system that this does. This has a much more The water deluge system that SpaceX designed for Starship's Pad 2 and the new pad system is the most powerful and advanced deluge system anyone has ever designed for any rocket pad ever. By far. Ever. The pressurization system, the amount of water, it's the most powerful anyone's ever designed. It doesn't need to be farther away or anything. It just adds more material, more complexity. The way it is right now, it works perfectly fine. It works great. They're still dialing things in. It'll take them a bit to fully dial in all the deluge. It'll take several flights. They've already added more pressurization and more control over for LC-39A. They've already added that, so that's a plus on that front. And they'll probably retrofit the current setup at Pad 2 once they get the chance to. But otherwise, it's fine. They don't really need it to make it higher. It works the way it is.
What also works is the replay poll system that we have, because now we have all of the replays. And stick around to the end, because we are saving whatever we could see from CP11 for the end, which isn't much, but
Nice.
we'll see what its final moments was before it fell over.
Wow, you can even see when the camera starts shaking it and the sound gets to North Beach here. Look at that.
Pressure waves, too, on that are gorgeous. I love how you can see the pressure ripple through the exhaust.
That's incredible.
Oh, I love it. Check out the next view. Sound. And this one's exposed to be able to see more of the flame.
the most intense environment on Earth. That is
One of the most. Definitely.
one of the most
I don't know if it's the most, but it's
on
one of the
Earth,
most.
not in Earth,
Human-made.
on Earth.
And how about human made? I wouldn't want to go in a volcano, but you know.
I wouldn't want to be inside a nuclear reactor.
I wouldn't want to be in the launch mount either.
So there's the deluge, and then
Whoosh! Jesus.
just the wall. Well, it's a good thing those tents didn't have anything on them because it would have been gone anyway.
Yeah.
Does it rain on the cameras from this plume because of the deluge system since that's steam or no?
I don't know. I mean, this camera
No.
isn't exactly super close to the pad, and I don't know how far the cloud actually comes because this is a very tight punch and point of view, so it's hard to tell distance. Actually, this one would be a better tell, but I have not heard any reports of it raining on Dune after a static fire though, or on Dune.
Yeah, I saw someone asking that in chat earlier.
Those weirs went about halfway up the tower.
Good
Look at how
Lord.
tall that plume goes.
Good Lord.
It looks apocalyptic almost from that angle.
A lot of dust.
Dust. And bird.
NOx and just exhaust.
Just inching towards you. It's like this is terrifying. It's like you're in a nightmare and this is what you see coming towards you. And yet it looks awesome too. Check out the next angle here. Thank goodness they made the bi-directional diverter so we
Yeah.
can actually see the booster through it despite all of that.
One of the biggest visual improvements of Pad 2 was using this design by far.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
It would have been really, really ridiculous if they went for the tri-vent, the tri diverter like for N1. You know?
Oh man, that would have been cool though.
It would have been really cool.
That would have been epic.
But bidirectional makes it a little bit easier to build stuff around your pad.
Can you imagine if they built a single exit diverter though? I mean, this would be like literally doubled.
Yeah. I mean, look at the height of that. This, I believe, is from the Margaritaville Hotel on South Padre Island.
Yup.
Where thank you to them for allowing us to have cameras there.
Dude, freaking look at that.
Yeah, and that tower is how many meters tall?
Many.
I don't remember the meters. It's like 470 feet almost.
There's the sound. See it shaking there?
Yeah, we're talking taller than the Statue of Liberty here, folks. Up for the tower. And look at how high the plume went.
Goodness gracious.
Golly. And now this is just how high those go. Golly gee.
I think this is River. Wow. Holy sped up. Jay.
Yeah,
A little bit too sped up.
Jay.
That looks better. Oh, I think he sped up the other clip so that we could see it better.
There's the noise.
The rumble.
Shake, rattle, and roll. And again, another way just to see the size of the plume. This is from the outpost, right?
Yes. Best
another
view of
great-
Pad 2, in my opinion, is from Outpost, and this is one of the reasons why.
Which again, shout out to them as well for allowing us to have a camera over there. This is with Rocket Ranch, right?
Yes, and they also support launch viewing, and tickets, I believe, are on sale for Flight 14, so get them while you can, folks. Front row seat.
I'd say that's not a bad view.
Good grief.
By the way, we weren't kidding when we said we had a lot of cameras.
Yeah. You need a Billy Mays moment. But wait, there's more.
I still remember when we got the first like full static or decently length static on 19. And I was like, oh my goodness, this moment was like 2 years in the making for me, as I have been watching them build this pad since it was May of 2024 is when they started construction on the pad. And like, it still gets me every single time I see the split plume, because seeing the omnidirectional plume off pad 1, I'm like, I already know what's coming for this pad, and I couldn't wait to see it, and it'll never get old.
I still wonder, as a fun thought exercise, just what it would look like if it was a single exit trench.
Pure insanity.
Yeah. like similar in design to like ZQ3.
Jeez.
Again, pure insanity.
Yes, exactly.
Excitement guaranteed. That's always the SpaceX promise with these launches and tests and everything. Again, just the lingering plume there. Very impressive.
Looks ominous.
This is from our
South Beach.
Like, we already know how much they want to launch this thing. You know, I'm imagining this multiple times a day here, Starbase, Louisiana, and KSC. Maybe not this exact thing, but launch is worth, of course.
Well, yeah, but still,
yeah,
Looks like a mushroom cloud from this angle.
it really does. That's exactly my thought too. So cool seeing the different angles too. And yeah, and again, still got the one behind it too. It's like a mini mushroom. And the views keep coming.
The pressure waves through the steam there.
Oh yeah.
Good. Wow.
All right, chat. I'm being told that the next replay is CP11, but only if there is hype in chat.
Oh,
I keep seeing people say, I want to say CP11. I want to see it. Excited for it. Chat, we need to know that you're actually ready for it. Do you want to see the last moments of this version of CP11 while we had the feed for it, at least? All right, we're getting some hype here.
I would say chat's pretty excited. Oh my goodness.
I see the hype.
Yeah.
Here we
Oh,
go.
wow.
The final
Here we
moments
go.
of this version of CP11.
Oh no. Oh my
And-
god.
Whoa!
and
Oh my god.
Let's watch that again.
it kicked it over slightly. That initial shockwave.
Dude, oh my god.
Oh my golly. There's all that stuff in the plume too.
It's safe to say you would not want to be standing there during a static fire.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Apparently at some point it did tip over, but of course we lost connection with it before that point.
Dude.
There is an SD card on it, so we'll see what we can get. But wow. There you go. The final moments before we lost communication with it.
Pour one out
At least
for CP11,
until after.
folks.
What is all that stuff that's getting kicked up in it, though? Do we know?
Just stuff
Like-
laying around.
Like
That's all it
grass
is.
and dust and sticks, like pretty much like whatever's like around the area on the ground.
Yeah, the pressure wave and the whatnot just kicks a bunch of stuff up in the air.
That is, yeah. Again, I know our team's going to try working on pulling the SD card footage because we do record local for all these, and see if we can get the full tip over and stuff. Which I'm sure if we do, that'll end up on the social channels. So if you're not following on X, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Blue Sky, check those all out. We are posting on all of them. You also get some other cool spaceflight things happening. You know, spaceflight history, spaceflight breaking news. Wow.
Jesus. Oh, CP11, you poor thing. Just
Not
got
in slow motion.
sandblasted.
I don't know if Jay can slow it down because, yes, he loves backseat producing. That first piece that just hits it and starts.
I was about
moving
to
it
say, I think a
sideways.
piece hit it there,
And-
right?
Oh, yes, the slow motion. Here we go.
Okay.
Thank you,
Is that
Jay.
a bird? That guy, I think it's a
Is it-
bird.
Oh,
that got
no!
caught in the plume right
This
there.
is- He moved
Oh,
out
it's
of the
trying
way.
to leave. It's trying to leave. I don't
moved
know
out. He's
if it
good.
made it.
This is 25% speed.
Where's that stick? There was a stick. Where's the stick? There it is.
Wham! The stick hit it, and then I think something else hit it right there, which is the plume.
Just got clapped.
That stick boomerang, but that bird, I'm surprised that bird was still flapping its wings. I'm surprised the pressure wave didn't instantly kill it.
Thank goodness. Nope. No bird was harmed in the making of this CP11 slow
I don't
motion.
think so. Yeah.
Where's the stick? Where is it? There it is. Oh no.
The stick! It's almost like that piece of Ship 39 that did its jettison towards the buoy cam.
The COPV coming. Yeah.
Yeah. The COPV jettisoning right at the buoy cam. It's like that, except sticks and debris from Booster 21 static fire going
Just
right at our
a
camera.
wooden stick torpedo.
Yeah, seriously. Yes, that stick was a paid actor. Exactly. No, we already have some people. As we continue to watch these replays, I need to thank some people who are willing to support the CP11 repair fund here. Which, again, hopefully we post on socials of what the camera looks like after, because I'm intrigued to see.
Oh my God!
Oh, you get better on that one. That was even
That
better.
stick just gets kicked up and goes wham.
So I think this is the wider angle one, right?
The
This is-
sky
yeah.
cam, I think, off to the
Skycam on
side
it.
slightly.
That stick just came at Skycam as if they were just having an argument, and Skycam just went like, "Yeah, that's what I thought." Like, what
It,
you
like,
say?
targeted. Like targeted that. Ready? There we
my
go.
God.
Six oh. Oh my goodness.
Skycam watch CP11 get hit is basically what happened right there.
Yes.
Yeah, Skycam.
Well,
We
more
say
like
'cause
CP11. Watch Sky. Yeah, no, never mind.
yeah, we say that because it looks more upwards, kind of towards the sky, wider view. It's not like it's in the sky, but yeah.
As Jeremy Clarkson would say, "In the face."
Yeah. Dink. Wow. Let's see here. Pun token, CP11 repair fund, as we watch the replays here of where this is all going to. John, Mr. Coffee, CP11 getting wrecked is better than CP30. I have CP30.
All right, the kisser.
And yeah, Turtle Sanctuary. Do you think 3PO could replace P11? With the $10 support there and another 10 to say Sawyer won't get that. Help him out. I know C3PO. Come on. I've seen a couple of the first movies. I just wasn't a fan. Stuart, thank you for the support. Let's see. Space Pope saying, need a live stream recovery of CP11, and I need a CP11 shirt in the shop.
We should do a shirt for
There
CP11.
should be a CP11 shirt with how much that camera, whether
camera-
it's even the singular camera,
Yeah.
but how much CP11 has been through with NSF, there should be a CPU. There should be something in the shop with CP11.
CP11 has enough lore behind it to actually support having its own line of merch. 100%.
Yep,
Really does.
100%. I agree.
Philip Anderson with the $5 tip at tips.nasaspaceflight.com, saying, if you guys want a great sense of how big the upper interior volume of Starship is, go check out Tim Dodd's tour of Starlab. That was a mock-up. Oh yeah, we've seen that. Apparently up to 3 more stories of equipment on top that could fit inside Starship. So don't just look at crude renders with people in it. Oh no, it's massive in there. Also, huge fans of Tim Dodd and his work here. Stuart, any talk of a dedicated booster static fire stand / tower? Maybe down the line, but right now you don't really need one, do you?
Again, to build a dedicated static fire stand, you basically have to build a launch mount.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you don't have to like build the retraction or the top deck deluge. You don't need that. But the trench itself and the deluge for the trench, you basically need that. So that's why they just use the launch mount anyways for it. You have such a powerful booster that you're talking something like the B1, B2 test stand at Stennis, but on steroids in order to tank a super heavy booster.
Yeah. Jeez. Tenacious Dragon, how will NSF cover 30 launches per day? Did you see how many cameras we have? Did you see all those replays? We will have the cameras for it, that's for sure. And, I'm sure we'll find a way. Think about it. There are live streams of different airports where you watch the planes go in and out all day. It's going to be like that. There will be live streams where there's launches going off all day. That's all. Raw alerts saying stick 1, CP11 0. Who's going to win next round? Who won? Who's next? You decide. Epic static fires of history. Anyway.
Epic static fires of history. Oh my god.
I'm sorry. It just came to me, and I had
Insert
to do
NG4. Oh wait.
And Joe Pistrito coming in again with another $100 support message saying CP11 repair fund. Thank you.
Holy jumping.
Wow. That is beyond appreciative, and I think we're going to need it based off of that view. And then the Space Pope saying, I have a CP11 3D printed model on my desk.
That's amazing, actually.
So what you need to do now is go outside, get a stick, and throw it at it. Take a video of it, share it with us, and there you go. Boom. Recreation of real life. Oh, boy.
We're pretty close to getting detanked. We got the line is like right there or lower. We're getting pretty low on the locks, so it's and for those I can say this for anyone who asks, they don't like when they go to detank this thing, it's not via pumps, it's via gravity. So however long it takes to let gravity take all the liquid oxygen back through the tank, through the lines and back into the tanks, or at least to vent it off, that's how long it takes to detank and whatnot. So yep. And tomorrow's closure, which had got put on a couple hours ago, is revoked, which kind of says that this was a no test tomorrow, which says this was a good test, and next would be rollback.
Yep.
So I would assume a rollback closure will pop up either today or tomorrow or something.
Exactly, yeah. I think there was a backup / if something goes wrong, we can do it again, and they got rid of it. So there we go. That is a good sign that the next one should be, as you pointed out, the rollback.
And also, if someone's wondering, Right as Jay changed it.
Anyone's wondering, here's a little circle next to
I was gonna-
nothing.
Jay's like, psych.
Psych. I was gonna explain those vents, but Jay changed it. Jay's like, no. Okay.
I want to be here for 8 hours.
Those two vents right there are the methane recondenser vents back at the tanks themselves. When those are running, it means they're running methane back into the tanks, and they are recondensing it either from a gas or whatnot, or making it or chilling it down a little bit more to put it back in the tanks. So that's what those are. So,
And I guess because they are detanking, but it's not all just going away. They're trying to reclaim some of it, right, Max?
Yeah, I mean, more so with the methane than the oxygen, because the oxygen is really harmless if it boils off and is vented out into the atmosphere. But the methane is very important to reclaim as much of it as they possibly can. They are cleared to vent only a certain amount of it out of the pad or the actual vehicle itself per year. And obviously, it's incredibly flammable if they were to have it vented out and it found a source of ignition. That would be a very bad day for a bunch of people. So they try to reclaim as much of both propellants as they possibly can, and gravity does the majority of the work in getting it back out of the booster and through its through either of their BQD ports and then back into the tank farm. But there is naturally some boil off there, just by the nature of them being cryogenic. But they do try to reclaim both as much as possible.
Yeah, and anything you can get back is money saving, which I guess is also why SpaceX is doing that with both the booster and ship to get them all back. Money savings. The Country Cooks is wondering, Ryan, why do they roll back after a successful static fire? It doesn't seem very efficient. Boy, also I can't speak those words.
Well, the booster isn't done yet. When they do static fires, they also have wire harnesses on that go up into the chines. They have to disconnect those and put away the wire, any of the hookups for the wire harnesses. To do that, I think they gotta, from what I can tell, they have to take the bottom parts of the chine off. And they do one final look over the vehicle and everything like that. That's kind of what they do at this point in time. Eventually, they may not. But as of right now, at this point in time in the program, they roll it back after a static fire. So eventually, they might not. But we'll see.
Eventually. I mean, they're going to have to at some point if they want to get that cadence up. It can't just be test it, roll it back, and then do all of that. Obviously, I get why for the ship, because it has to go A, all the way out to Massey's, which is different, and B, you then need to load it up with payload. Because, yeah, SpaceX doesn't like to do static fires with payload on board. They did a test once like that with payload on board. It was called Amos 6. Didn't go great.
No.
Skyhawk saying, oh boy, I sure am enjoying this booster static fire. The humble stick of mass destruction.
CP11 just enjoying its life.
Yeah. It's just the way that's worded with the humble stick of mass destruction, : blank.
How right in the kisser.
MCB 210 adding to the CP11 fund. Raw's alerts, please cherish that stick. Call it CP11 Star Stick. I wonder if it's possible for the team to go out there and grab the stick whenever the roads are open and they're allowed to go out there again.
Task for Caesar if he's listening.
Would be amazing to see the Star Stick. Take a picture with it. And then Mafia Lock's wondering, will SpaceX have a third episode to the documentary? I sure hope so, because I want to see them talk about their Ship 40 recovery efforts and what they realized when it was, oh my gosh, it survived. Crud.
If that's not its own episode entirely in the docuseries, I would be amazed. Like I cannot wait to hear the stories of how just that whole saga went. Like there's so much there, from the human element to the hardware to the teams back in Starbase and Hawthorne and whoever else was involved. Like there's so much there, and it might take them a while to sort through everything and get something published. But I would sure hope so. I mean, there's gotta be, right?
For
I mean, the
Ship
president has been set. So
like, I can't wait to see a full episode on the recovery.
Yeah.
But speaking of, by the way, the ship is on its way back. It's been loaded. It's tied down. Its ETA is October 8th.
Whoa!
So
let's go.
It looks like it's going to go around the Cape of Good Hope.
Okay.
So around South Africa. And earliest ETA is the 8th, but of course they might have to stop for fuel or there might be weather that slows the Forte down. But otherwise, in about 6 weeks, Ship 40 might make its triumphant return through the canal into the port of Brownsville. That'll be a sight to see, to say the least. We need CP11 to back up and running by then to see it come in.
You better.
speaking of sight to see, apparently we were just sent a video by a viewer, of which I've not been told what it is yet.
Oh my god.
No.
Dude, no, that poor, oh my god, that poor camera.
Did Space Pope send that in? Yes,
Okay.
that was the
Oh
Space
my
Pope who had the
God.
model of CP11, and I joked about taking a video of throwing the stick, and the Space Pope actually did it.
Oh my god. That's incredible.
See, we don't use AI for our
perfect.
simulations here. We don't use any AI, generative AI for that. This is all human made.
Rest in peace, CP11.
Oh, man.
Oh my god.
Classic right there.
Oh, my God.
Space
Hang
Pope is
on, I'm
known
joking from
for
laughing.
doing just like the funniest stuff like this, and it's absolutely incredible.
Fatality.
Wasted.
Oh, God.
Wasted.
I'm sorry, I had to mute. I was laughing too hard. I was choking. Space Pope, you've outdone yourself. Oh, man. Yeah, someone said Ryan needs to add that to the intro.
Oh, man.
Oh, boy. Yes, instead of CP11, it's now RIP11, someone said. Also clever. So yeah, the detanking appears to still be going on. It seems like it's gotten a lot lower now based off of where the kind of vapors coming off of the booster are, at least. Like it's getting towards the bottom. And I believe they still have the road blocked off at this point, correct?
Yep. Getting close to the bottom of the booster there. This is where it starts to get really hard to tell exactly how far down it is, because I think it's far enough down that the frost, I would assume your liquid line is probably around there or lower. Probably even lower than that. But basically, there's not much left to lower around. Detanking usually takes about an hour to fully detank, and then it can take another half hour to get any of the residuals out, and then you depress it. So we could have depressed vent in about half hour or so, and then road open. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Usually takes about an hour and a half. So we'll see.
I did see someone ask, there's no trees nearby. Where did the stick come from?
There's still some shrubbery there across the road. Either mangroves or just tall grass, or there's also some cactus and just bushes over there. Like there are sources of sticks over there. I'm speaking from experience there. There are some over there, so that's probably where it came from. I know there's no trees, but there are other things that have branches.
The ULA stick.
The ULA stick, strategically placed there.
Speaking of, I wonder if we're going to be doing that after Flame Trench tonight.
Oh God.
Which, yes, I saw people asking. There is still a Flame Trench set for tonight. That happens starting at 5 Eastern-ish. So keep an eye out for that. It will be happening. Max, I know you and I will
Less
be
than
on
2
it.
hours.
EJ's back. Yeah,
Yep.
just a couple hours away.
Indeedy.
And we will talk more about this. We'll talk more about Louisiana Starbase. A lot of good stuff to discuss. Let's see. Yes, everyone's talking about the stick still. Beach bonfire for CP11. Show those sticks who's boss. Yeah, the spaceboat video needs to be in the in Twist or in Twist. I'm sure it'll be in Flame Trench. Lumpy calling this the most depressing part of the stream, but tish.
Wow.
That's pretty good. You need a deluge system for CP11. Location protection, not good for filming though. That is true. Someone was asking, what does the CP stand for? Do we know?
That's a question for Jay or Kevin. Oh, Jay's typing. Jay's typing. It's the router manufacturer, cradle point, or control point.
There you go. That is what it stands for. Although, I guess now it would be currently portrait, since it's on its side. Space Pope said that video had audio too. I made the best raptor sound. Oh no, there was sound with it too.
Oh boy.
Jay said, give me a second. Also, yes, Midnight Burner CP11 did stick the landing.
Wow.
But
That was also pretty good. I do have a question queued up, but I'm giving Jay his second. Here we go.
Jesus. Rip CP11.
I'm going to have to use that sound when I make the static fire short later. I'm just going to use his sounds.
yeah, you have to use Space Pope sound. That's perfect.
Yeah, forget the real sound of the static fire. I'll just put that underneath all the clips. There we go. Just loop it. Let's see. Ask Bruce Gordon. Well, I'm going to ask Ryan Weber. Is Super Heavy designed to survive more launches than Falcon? I mean, Falcon was supposed to do, what, 50 flights? Potentially?
I think it's set for 40.
40.
Right now is what
40.
Falcon's set to. I hope so. It's going to need to do a lot more flights than Falcon is. Falcon 9 as a whole, how many flights are they at with Falcon 9 now? I don't even remember exactly how many total. Stand by, I can look.
Is it not over 600?
681.
Yeah.
They need to do they plan on doing over 10 times that much in a year. And Falcon's done that in what? A decade and a half? So I hope Super Heavy can do more than that. It better be able to.
That would be nice. But also, they're building so many of them at this point. It's like, it kind of becomes the Falcon 9 thing where you've got your reliable fleet, but you have so many that you can still keep launching regularly and have boosters that are only 10, 20, 30 flights. So do you need to build it for that many more flights if you're putting out new ones that quickly?
I think it should. I think these will probably be able to do 100 to 200 flights. I wouldn't be that shocked at it. But the real question is going to become is structurally speaking, when do welds start having issues or the tank wall itself start having issues with the amount of different pressure and depressurization cycles that it goes through? That's going to be the real kicker. We'll see how long it lasts. But I will say they are getting pretty close to being, I think, done with detanking. The LOX drain line opened up, so I think they're just dumping whatever LOX is left out just to drain the rest of it. So, and I don't know if methane is done or nearly done at this point in time. I have not seen the methane drain line open at all this time around. I wonder if they changed that up. But I have not seen that open up during this test at all. So they might have changed some stuff regarding that. Maybe they're not draining it anymore. And they're trying to route it back as much as they can to not dump, liquid methane out. But it's certainly getting close. So hopefully a depress vent shortly here, maybe in the next 20 minutes.
Maybe. By the way, as great as Space Pope's sound was on that, being told we have another replay from Caesar out in the field, and the sound is much better. The sound of that's pretty good.
Wow. Hey, that's pretty good.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Dang. That's awesome. And then a photo from there. I've heard the camera clicking away. There's an awesome shot with the birds flying around. Beautiful. Oh, that flame diverter is so nice.
I wanted to be there for a booster static fire so bad. So bad.
I know you've been
You'll
mentioning
get one
it.
you will get one.
Not
soon.
like this, we won't.
You'll get one at 39A soon. Although I don't know if you'll have the same angle. You're not going to have the same angle.
That's what I'm talking about, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brother.
At this point, wait to see when they end up opening the road. Of course, you have to have a safe vehicle, and we should have all the big depress events coming up soon. Philip Anderson, $5 tip at tips.nasaspaceflight.com. So yeah, if you want a good in-person view of what can fit inside Starship, and I believe Starlab can be modified for New Glenn, but it's optimized for Starship version 3. I mean, yeah, it's right now, not a lot of stuff is optimized for New Glenn, given it's not flying at the moment, but yeah.
Ouch.
I hate to say it. And again, I'm trying to save my thoughts because this is one of my topics that I want to bring up on the Flame Trench. It's just, it stinks seeing so few launches now, and it's a shame what happened. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to save my thoughts because we go live in about 2 hours for that show. Someone asked, has anybody checked on KMR? That was his buddy.
KMR has been following the situation quite closely. That much I will say.
Yes. Kevin's definitely been keeping an eye on that, and the discussions have been happening about our poor friend. Yeah, we'll send him flowers for condolences or something.
Or chocolates or something.
Something like that, yeah. Or just pizza for dinner after Flame Trench. Reed Trimmer is wondering, Ryan, is Starship made of the same material that the original Atlas is? They look really similar.
I'm trying to remember if the original Atlas was 301. Well, these are 304L, as far as we understand. I do not know if SpaceX ended up making their own alloy, the 30XX or 304XX or whatever it was. I don't know if they've already made it.
I think Elon can confirm on X that Starship is their own alloy.
That wouldn't surprise me at this point. They've had more than enough time to make it. So it's probably it's an alloy of 304L, SpaceX's own, something around those lines. So it's not the same exact steel, but it's close. Because it's a slightly different one. But either way, the very early on in the program was 301 stainless, which is a lot of that is basically the same stainless that we'd use in your kitchen. Some kitchen stuff is also 304, but and that alloy depends on what other stuff is checked in with the steel. I don't remember exactly the composition of the alloys off the top of my head. I'd have to look those up again, but it is a stainless steel alloy, but it's not the exact same thing as the older Atlases.
It's amazing though that it's generationally still that close.
I mean, we've been using stainless steel for a long time. I mean, this is generationally the steel that makes up this thing is the same type of steel that makes up the St. Louis Arch. That's stainless steel as well. I mean,
When's that set to launch? 2028?
Sure.
Hopefully never.
Yeah, I hope never. Yeah.
For all we know, it's an alien spaceship disguise that's been sitting there waiting. No, I don't know.
No,
like in War of the Worlds.
The pyramids are landing pads for alien ships called hot tox. We know this. This is proven. So, yeah. Yeah, right? We all know that, right?
I don't know the reference you were trying to get there.
I'll be honest, I was scratching my ear. I
know there's a lot of people who will get the reference that I just made, but it's just disappointing that I'm disappointed. That's all.
Why now? Why now? For God's sake, man.
Jeez. I don't even know where to go from here right now. So, Max, what are we waiting for now? What are we looking at here?
We should see the depress vent on the booster from both ox and methane tanks. And that would signify that testing has fully concluded and that we should be seeing the road open shortly thereafter. Our mic should be able to pick up the depress vents, but they will also be visible towards the very top of their respective tanks, and the methane tank vent will be close to the grid fin. So that is ideally what we should be looking out for next. And then we should also be keeping an eye on the roadblock towards LBJ and the production site there as well to see what they're doing. But we should at least see the depress vents when they happen.
Yep. I mean, it'll be pretty obvious. But yeah, again, that frost line down dramatically. And it still boggles me a bit that as fast as they're able to load propellant after a static fire or after a non-launch attempt, try not to say the S word.
You can say it today. The test is passed.
Fine. After a scrub or something, it's amazing how long it takes to detank. Is there a reason why they can load it up so quickly and detanking takes longer, even though it's basically gravity assisted in a way? I don't know if Ryan, you would have an answer to that.
Well, you don't really want to. But the problem with the pumps is the pumps don't necessarily, the setup doesn't necessarily work to be able to pull prop out of the tanks. And there really is no need to. The only times you're detanking are either during a test or if you have a scrub. Otherwise, the detank is the rocket is flying and the prop's going through the engines. That's the only other way you detank. So there's no reason to set up and complicate your system to set up pumps to pull and detank. I mean, yet the test was what? An hour and 5 minutes ago, and they're almost fully detanked. They're almost done. And they're about to depress. So it doesn't take that long. And it's not really a big deal in order to just do it with gravity and whatnot. And you need the pumps to fill it, obviously, because You're filling it from the bottom up, so your pumps start working harder once you have a big, column of fluid that you have to push against in order to flow more prop into the tank. So you put all your effort into tanking rather than detanking. You just open the valves and let it drain.
I know it seems like a long time, but it's not when we're only talking an hour. I think just in relation to, oh yeah, you can fill up an entire stack in 38 minutes, it feels long.
Like for reference, SpaceX can chill down the tank farm in about an hour and a half, load in about half an hour. It was about 35, 40 minutes. Okay, so now you're at 2 hours. Detank in about an hour and a half. So in about 3.5, 4 hours, they have gone from chilling the entire tank farm down, loading it, completing a static fire, and detanking and safing it. That's impressive. That's quick. So it's not really that long.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Let's see here. Just trying to keep up with chat. It's all still about CP11 right now. Let's see. If you guys have questions while we're waiting for the depress, you can tag us at NASASpaceflight at NSF with questions. We can still go through some of those while we wait. Let's see. Well, Forrest Richardson didn't tag NSF, but it's a good question. What are they going to do with all this time, Max, between now and launch?
That is a great question that we don't really have a good answer for beyond the usual pre-launch checkouts. Maybe they have some more to do on the booster and ship that they haven't done before, or that the vehicles need that we just haven't seen before, or there's something else happening that we just straight up just don't know about. We also have not had an actual confirmation from SpaceX of what their next targeted net is, or what even the targeted net is at all, beyond the Cadena presentation. But I think it was about a week ago now. We have no official confirmed target for SpaceX and Flight 14 yet. So I don't know beyond the usual pre-launch checkouts and FTS installation. That is a great question. I wish we had a better answer for that one, unfortunately. But there must be more happening behind the scenes that we just can't see.
Yeah, I really wish we could see what was going on behind the scenes, because I'd be intrigued, especially if they're trying to pick up the pace and get the launch cadence up as much as they are. You would think, oh yeah, let's push it, see if we can get it off before Labor Day, but I guess not, because originally at one point they were targeting, I believe today, August 28th, for quite a while. For like 2 or 3 weeks, the Cadena had that. Although now for the last 2 weeks, it is saying September 15th.
Correct. And that is really our best estimate, and really our only guideline to this point of when Flight 14 could occur. But assuming today's test was successful, that means the vehicle is just about ready. Beyond the actual pre-flight checkouts and post-testing checkouts and FTS installations, Starlink install or loading on Ship 41. Nothing more than what we've seen on previous flights, unless there's more that SpaceX wants to do, or if there's more paperwork to be done, but not quite sure.
Yeah. And again, for those wondering, Labor Day is September 7th. So Labor Day weekend as well. So that would include the 4th, 5th, and 6th. They can't do anything because the beaches have to be open. So they can't do any testing. They can't do any attempts that would require a beach closure then. So that basically would have left them, the 31st, 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. So they're going to wait till after that. And then I guess I'm surprised they didn't do anything the rest of the week of Labor Day, unless, people were still taking time off and they want the team rested so that they can go full steam ahead for a launch campaign the following week, which would include September 15th. Just trying to think out loud.
A work truck with the work van there, or work trailer, I should say, sitting ready to go to pad.
Yep. Waiting for that roadblock to open. And for those wondering, for these events where you've got obviously propellant load and things inside the vehicle, we typically stay until the road opens because otherwise there's still stuff inside of it. You never know what can happen. We haven't even done the depress vent yet. So for things like that, that is why we stay live until the road opens. And that's when basically SpaceX says it's safe. So once we know it's safe, that's when we stop this. But of course, don't forget, we also have our 24/7 Starbase live stream, so you can always see what's going on nonstop 24/7 over there right here on this YouTube channel. And if you're watching on X, go check out the YouTube channel. Here's a question. Midnight Burner is wondering, Ryan, when they start reusing boosters and ships, will they keep engines installed between flights?
Depends on if the engine's good or not. If you have a problem with an engine, swap the engine out. It's that simple. It's what we do. If we have a problem with an engine, a big enough problem with an engine that requires it to be removed from the aircraft, such as like it ingested a bird, you have high oil pressure, too high of oil pressure, or EGT issues, exhaust gas temperature issues, things like that. Sometimes you may end up just taking the entire engine off the aircraft. And in this case, you just swap the engine out on it, or maybe you do work on the engine to fix what's ever wrong with it and then fly it. But that's what they're going to do. They'll either repair the engine on the vehicle or they'll just swap it. My guess is they'll swap it more often than not because taking a Raptor engine off is not that complicated. It shouldn't take too long to do. I know even with a 737 engine, a good team can drop an engine and put a new one up within a 12-hour shift or less. Doesn't take long to do it when you get a team who knows what they're doing. And SpaceX definitely has technicians who know what they're doing. So all you got to do is get the booster somewhere where they can access the engine. So on a work stand inside, Gigabay is where it's going to be. Take the engine off, put a new one on, put the shielding back on, and just go fly. I think they won't do any like booster engine testing after such a thing unless they were to change several engines on a booster. At that point, then you might do a static fire, igniter test, or spin prime in order just to verify that connections are good and everything like that. So the kind of thing that Booster 20 did before, it did it flew for a second attempt. That's my expectation is how they'll do it. It'll be like airline operations, as they like to put it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and if anyone would know airline operations, it's Ryan Weber. Max, we're still seeing venting coming out from underneath the launch mount here. Where is that coming from, and what does that mean?
It looks like it's coming from the engines themselves, which is kind of puzzling, or it's still vapor falling from the sides of the booster close to the BQDs there, or the booster quake disconnects. Wish we had a better view of the engine section there, because it would give us a better idea of exactly where it's coming from, but it looks like it's coming from the engines themselves right now, or from below the BQDs. We still have yet to observe the depress vents from both ox and methane tanks. So that is our next indicator that they are fully winding down operations for today, and then the road should be opening shortly thereafter. But it is curious to see venting from the engines this long after detanking we thought had completed.
It is likely residuals left in the tanks because where the booster QD is, that's not the very bottom of the tank. In fact, the line goes from the BQD down into the tank. So you can't pull, when you're using gravity detank, you can't pull up with gravity to detank that. So you basically let it boil off, vent it off, or you could try to slowly vent it and dump it out via the engines, which they might be doing right now. They might have opened some of the valves or opened something else, or they're just letting it boil off and warm up, and they're just venting it off as it goes. And that's about that's the thing that takes the longest out of all of it, is whatever that little bit that's left in that bottom of that LOX tank. You basically just have to boil off and vent off, and then once enough is boiled off, you can vent off and depress the tanks, and then it's safe to approach. So,
Can physics work faster? We have to get ready for the flame trench.
yeah,
Yeah, we,
we'll see
we
how long
actually
this
do.
takes.
Please, physics, do the thing. Bideford coming in with the $25 support, saying, "Happy days today. Loved the 14-second static fire, and thanks for all the replays, Jay. Who's on Flame Trench this evening?" I believe it's the OG3. Well, minus the new OG3, because Jack is an abandoner. So
I think a couple of Cybertrucks are getting ready to go out there, according to the roadblock. Like, I think they both just repositioned. Oh, here we go. There's one moving.
Yeah, they're going
already.
to grab the booster transport stand.
Ah,
there we go. And that's going to go right back to where it was, next to the launch mount, right?
yes.
Yeah, they'll probably position that. They'll probably put it off to the side at first until they're ready to grab the booster with the sticks, and then they'll roll it up next to the mount, and then place the booster on it once, probably sometime tonight or tomorrow morning, and then we'll see when booster rolls back.
So you'll have to keep watching Starbase Live or check out the NSF socials for when they start lifting and removing that. And we're also waiting then to see if there is a notice on the City of Starbase website of any road delays for the potential rollback time there. But yeah, continuing to see the massive Cybertrucks on their way. And wow, what is that? A non-Cybertruck vehicle?
Wow.
Are we sure we're looking at Starbase Live?
It's not a dumpster.
I'm not going to comment. That's a flame dredge comment, not a static fire stream content. But at least in terms of vehicle testing, we've seen Ship 41 do the single engine and the 6-engine static fire. And now we've seen the booster do a static fire where it looked pretty darn successful. And the fact that they removed any testing window for tomorrow is also a good sign of that.
I wonder if they already had the depress vents happen if they're approaching the pad like this and we just didn't see them.
It is possible.
Maybe the lighting was a bit weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And also CP11 being down doesn't help either because that would have had the best use of them.
Yeah, that too. I mean, right now all I can see is just dust, so.
And haze. Lots and lots of heat haze.
Oh, poor CP11. Again, I can't wait till we get the SD card footage off of that. Looks like they're being selective still of who they're letting through there. But again, they let a non-Cybertruck through, so I don't know what that means, but that team is heading out there to get ready for the booster transport stand at least, so that's a good sign.
I mean, other than being like really close to the test as part of that roadblock, it's gotta be a little boring. Like just sitting there waiting and waiting, get to see the load, get to see the test, and otherwise you're sitting there waiting and waiting.
I mean, Ryan, you say that like you haven't been there, so you wouldn't know how exciting it is being there at all.
Also, Ryan, what did we just do?
It just did the exact same thing, except we're not sitting out in Texas
We
heat,
sat
though.
there and we waited and watched the load and the static fire and the D tank.
But at least you're there in person.
I gotta say that their waiting is probably a little bit more worth it because they're what, a little over a mile away from the static fire. So that's got to be fun, right?
I mean, that's got to be really cool. Yeah, they're literally just doing exactly what we did, Texas tank watching, except in Texas.
And next to it, basically.
Yeah, in Starbase. So yeah, come on, SpaceX, please do the thing.
Open the road.
Yeah, please. The flame trench is waiting for us. It summons us. Which again, that's coming up 5-ish Eastern today. That's our weekly show where we get a little small panel together and we discuss topics we found interesting in spaceflight and some of the major events going on, including the Starship Louisiana opening. And then we also have the This Week in Spaceflight that follows after, which is a more serious look at the news hosted by Alicia, who's awesome. I'm totally not stretching because I see Jay Keegan typing in the back channel right now.
And not anymore. Oh, here we go.
Okay, apparently Jay is working on trying to get the SD card pull from one of those cameras that was out there, from the Skycam, which might be able to see what happened to CP11. But connection is tough out there, so no promises. Oh boy. If it is retrieved, the stick needs to be on the flame trench. Yes, it does.
On a wall somewhere.
But yeah. So again, we continue to wait at this point, but we had a gorgeous static fire earlier. Looked like all 33 engines, and it looked like it went pretty well for approximately 15-ish seconds. And if you missed it, you can rewind a bit in the stream. I believe that happened around, what was that, 1:15-ish Central Time? Max, Brian, help me out.
Yeah, give or take.
All right, 1:10 is what I'm being told.
Mhm.
So if you missed it, you can rewind to about 1:10 to see it, and also be able to see the poor fate of our CP11 camera that took a bit of a beating. But there's some amazing replays from that one. I believe the CP11 replay was at, I'm totally not rewinding through the stream to find it myself. Was it around 1:40 p.m. Central Time-ish? And it's amazing. This was it, by the way. So this is CP11 that we had right there. Took a stick to the camera and off it went. Or this is Skycam, I think, right?
This is Skycam.
Yeah, this is Skycam.
Well, there's the stick of doom. Boom.
Wham.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like we'll have the SD card pulled during this, but we still have a flame trench coming up later, so maybe it'll be pulled by then, question mark? We'll have to see. It all depends on internet and how much of that is surviving and working to be able to pull the footage off of the SD card. Yep. By the way, non-Starship related breaking news. The Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope is go for launch.
Hey.
This coming Sunday. So that'll be exciting. And we'll talk more about Nancy Grace Roman as well on the Flame Trench. So hopefully we'll see you all for that just about an hour and a half from now. But let me thank the people who joined us here today. Max, thank you for joining.
Indeedy. I'll see you all again very soon for the Flame Trench.
And Ryan Weber, thank you for joining.
Pleasure as always, and maybe we'll play BF6 later. We'll see.
So, and then we had Jay Keegan surviving all of the technical issues and the fiber issues and being able to pull the awesome views from CP11 and Skycam there, pushing the buttons, pulling the levers, doing amazing things. Jay Keegan, you are awesome. As much as I joke with you off stream, thank you so much. I'm Sawyer Rosenstein. I have been your host. I also want to make sure, by the way, that we thank Caesar that was out there in the field. Got that awesome photo and that great video with the sound from it, too. Can't forget the field team. But yes, I'm Sawyer Rosenstein. I've been your host. Thank you so much for joining. We will catch you all for the Flame Trench in just a little bit. Thanks for watching.
And here we go.
There's the W. Here's ignition.
Traveling up.
Did it just do a curble? Back to the moon and beyond.
Put that in the big bag, you know.
Back at home, we all have a lot of work to do, but from here, that sure looks like a perfect flow.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
We did have an observation. 343 unfolds to go.
It's orange.
Water towers can fly!
Bingo! Right in the center. Where's Jacqueline? There it is!
That was surreal.
That's not what we want to see.
No.
Oh my God.
Yikes. You bet. We don't need any more of these.